What up, my Miami Hurricane fans? I have found the coolest item on the market for you guys right now. Yes, right now. Holy Cap Apparel. Man, awesome, 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 awesome. New innovative hat, gotta have it. Now, obviously, you can tell that this is more of a nightcap, no pun intended, but the LED lights will light up the night, and obviously, you'll get a glow. You'll be the center of attention anywhere you go. As you can see, it comes with a charger. Obviously, this thing is ran by battery. Just a click on the top of the head to change the color, change it to your likings, and boom, you're on your way. So go check out holycapapparel.com and get you something. What up, my Miami Hurricane fans? I have found the coolest item on the market for you guys right now. Yes, right now. Holy Cap Apparel. Man, awesome, 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 awesome. New innovative hat, gotta have it. Now, obviously, you can tell that this is more of a nightcap, no pun intended, but the LED lights will light up the night, and obviously, you'll get a glow. You'll be the center of attention anywhere you go. As you can see, it comes with a charger. Obviously, this thing is ran by battery. Just a click on the top of the head to change the color, change it to your likings, and boom, you're on your way. So go check out holycapapparel.com and get you something. What up, my Miami Hurricane fans? I have found the coolest item on the market for you guys right now. Yes, right now. Holy Cap Apparel. Man, awesome, 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 awesome. New innovative hat, gotta have it. Now, obviously, you can tell that this is more of a nightcap, no pun intended, but the LED lights will light up the night, and obviously, you'll get a glow. You'll be the center of attention anywhere you go. As you can see, it comes with a charger. Obviously, this thing is ran by battery. Just a click on the top of the head to change the color, change it to your likings, and boom, you're on your way. So go check out holycapapparel.com and get you something. What up, my Miami Hurricane fans? I have found the coolest item on the market for you guys right now. Yes, right now. Holy Cap Apparel. Man, awesome, 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 awesome. New innovative hat, gotta have it. Now, obviously, you can tell that this is more of a nightcap, no pun intended, but the LED lights will light up the night, and obviously, you'll get a glow. You'll be the center of attention anywhere you go. As you can see, it comes with a charger. Obviously, this thing is ran by battery. Just a click on the top of the head. Yo, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing this morning? Welcome to Big 3 T2Y, home for the Big Three, of course, the Miami Hurricanes, the Florida State Seminoles, and the Florida Gators. Now, a lot of college football was played yesterday, obviously, not just Miami, not just Florida Gators. The Seminoles was on bye week. They probably lost that. But nonetheless, college football was played, a lot of upsets, a lot of dramatic finishes and stuff like that. And we're going to get into all that. But, guys, take a second to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And, of course, if you're watching on Twitter, go ahead and hit the share button, retweet, and all that good stuff for me. Help support however you can support. But anyways, let me go ahead and get this off the screen, obviously, where it started. You know what? Actually, leave that on there for a second. I will be back with you guys in less than 30 seconds. To change the color, change it to your likings, and boom, you're on your way. So go check out holycapapparel.com and get you something. What up, my Miami Hurricane fans? I have found the coolest item on the market for you guys right now. Yes, right now. Holy Cap Apparel. Man, awesome, 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 awesome. New innovative hat, gotta have it. Now, obviously, you can tell that this is more of a nightcap, no pun intended, but the LED lights will light up the night, and obviously, you'll get a glow. You'll be the sun. All right, guys, I'm back. So, obviously, like I was telling you guys before, I had to take a little quick intermission. A lot happened yesterday, man. Upsets. I guarantee you, when the college football new top 25 rankings come out, there's going to be a lot of shakeups. Obviously, the biggest talk of yesterday was none other than NIU, Northern Illinois, taking down none other than the number 5 team in the country, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Now, if you're a Miami Hurricane, you know we got lots of history with those Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and man, for some of us, that was sweet. That was excellent. That was great to watch. But let's talk about college football in general. And of course, being that I am a Miami Hurricane fan, we're gonna start with the Miami Hurricanes. Of course, I had the pleasure of going to the Miami Hurricanes' first home game opener against FAMU yesterday. Yes. FAMU did not bring the band. I know, terrible. It's okay. They didn't need to bring the band. It didn't matter if they brought the band or not. We still would have beat them the same way we beat them, 56-9. Beat them by 47 points. Oh, wait a minute. The spread was 46.5. We beat the spread. We beat the spread. That's tough. Even the Gainesville Geckos up there, the Florida Gators, the Baby Lizards or whatever, they beat their spread too. I think their spread was like 37 or something like that. They beat who they played? They played a nobody team, Samford. Beat them 45-7. So they covered the spread also. Bounce back week after Miami pummeled them last week. DJ Lagway for the Florida Gators started for the first time, and he had a phenomenal day. We're gonna talk about all that, all the stats, all that good stuff in this show this morning. Like I said, guys, get in the comment section. Let me know who's all in here. We're gonna do roll call in a second and stuff like that. But as you guys can see, man, I got on the hat. You seen I've been playing the little commercial. For those of y'all that just tuned in and didn't see it, I'm gonna run it for you one more time. For those of y'all, some of y'all probably seen it already and you're tired of it. This is the last time, so let's go ahead. What up, my Miami Hurricane fans? I have found the coolest item on the market for you guys right now. Yes, right now. Holy Cap Apparel. Man, awesome. New innovative hat, gotta have it. Now, obviously, you can tell that this is more of a nightcap, no pun intended, but the LED lights will light up the night, and obviously, you'll get a glow. You'll be the center of attention anywhere you go. As you can see, it comes with a charger. Obviously, this thing is ran by battery. Just a click on the top of the head to change the color, change it to your likings, and boom, you're on your way. So go check out holycapapparel.com and get you something. All right, so obviously you can see I got the hat on. Boom, boom, boom. You guys can see it, boom, boom. It's a normal hat. It's a normal hat, man. The button is right here for you to change the color and press and all that stuff. Obviously, you could charge it. Obviously, it's LED, so it's ran by battery. So, yeah, come with the charger and everything. Now, that's one of the plus of going to the games. You run into people that knows you sometimes and fans of the channel, or other people tell them about you and stuff like that. Now, obviously, you guys seen I made the video. I made the little minute commercial. I also posted it on Twitter. Also posted it on YouTube, the YouTube Shorts, so you guys can see it on the channel. Obviously, let me pop this back on the screen real quick. You can see it right there. Holy Cap Apparel, holycapapparel.com. You guys could go order you some merchandise from there. You basically tell them what you want on the hat, so it don't necessarily have to be Miami Hurricanes. They got Florida State. They got the Florida Gators. They got anything you want, basically. You tell them what you want on that hat, and they will build it for you. obviously. So if you're a Miami Hurricane fan, this hat is perfect for you. They also have it with the regular U on it. As a matter of fact, let me give you guys a little visual of that. Actually, visuals are a lot better than just telling you. So as you guys can see, look, they got the Miami U where you could get that light up just like the one you just seen in the commercial. Not just Miami. They got the Miami Heat, of course. Like I said, you tell them what you want and they will build it for you. You can see the Florida Gator, the F. So for all you Florida Gator fans that's watched the channel, you can go out and get the same hat. As you can see in the back, also they got the SF. So tell them what you want and they'll bake it. If you want that ugly little Seminole on the front of it, they'll do that for you too. So Holy Cap Apparel, man. Holy Cap Apparel. Now I'm gonna tell you guys this. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm not getting paid for this. I genuinely like this product. So it's free promotion. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm gonna say this one more time. This is not paid advertisement. Nobody's paying me to come sell you guys anything or tell you guys to do anything. I literally saw the merchandise. I saw what it does. Obviously, I liked it, so I'll promote it. If you got any items out there that's cool and hip and you want it promoted, well, hit me up. Hit me up. My Twitter, as a matter of fact, I'll put it on the screen for you guys. I'll put my Twitter up there if you guys want to promote some stuff. Now, obviously, if it's something that I'm rocking with that I could use in my everyday life, I'll do it for free. I'll help promote it for free. But if it's something that's out of the ordinary, it might be a little price. It might be a low price. I'm just letting you know. But if you want to promote anything, you guys can hit me up. Let me make this a little bit more bigger so it's more visible for you guys. So if you want to hit me up on promotions or whatever, you want to try to promote something, as long as it's football related or it's something that the members of the channel or the subscribers or college football fans can rock with, I'll help promote it. Like I said, if it's something that I personally like and you send me some here and there and I'm gonna rock with it like I'm rocking with this hat, I'll do it for free. That's tough. Now, back to the show at hand though. Good morning to everybody. Like I said, get in the comment section. Get in the comment section. We're gonna do roll call. As of right now, we got like 47 people watching them. That's through Twitter and YouTube. I'm live on both right now. Obviously, it's early Sunday morning. Some people are still sleeping. Some people have to watch this show back on YouTube or on Twitter later on, whenever they get time or whenever they wake up. The best part of waking up, growing up in my era, was the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. So, some of these people got to get their coffee in their system and everything like that. But we're going to talk college football, man. Enough with all this jibber jabber T2Y. Enough with all this jibber jabber. Let's talk some college football. Let's talk about the Miami Hurricanes. Now, obviously, yesterday was kind of different for me. It was college football home game, Miami, Hard Rock, was different for your boy. It was different. Very different. I've done something I have never done in my entire life. I went to the Miami Hurricanes football game wearing Florida State gear. Now, obviously, if you're a fan of the channel and you've been around, then you know the circumstances of that. I lost a bet last year. I bet in Florida Gate. I'm sorry. I also bet the Florida Gator fans the same thing, but Miami won. Thank you. But I bet in Florida State fans last season, before the game got played, that Miami was going to beat them. If Miami lose to Florida State, I would wear Florida State gear to all of Miami home games that I attend. Any home games that I go to this season, I would have to wear Florida State gear. Yesterday was the first home game. Of course, your boy had to be in the building. I had to go see Cam Ward in person. I had to go see and experience that for myself because obviously you guys been on the channel. Last week I did not go to Gainesville, but I had to go to the home game. I had to go show support, whether it's FAMU, Ball State, or Florida State. I had to show up for that game. I had to see Cam Ward. I had to see if this guy was as good as it gets. And boy, was he. Cam Ward is the man. Cam Ward is the man. The best quarterback in the state of Florida, no doubt about it. Best quarterback in the state of Florida, no doubt about it. But Florida fans gonna have something to say about it with DJ Lagway against Lil Sanford. Of course, his debut as a starting quarterback. As you guys seen him last week against Miami, it was a dud. He had one good drive, and then the other one he threw a laying down interception. So don't put too much hype into DJ Lagway. Obviously, he's a freshman. He got a bright future ahead of him, but the Canes do what the Canes do in 2024. So yesterday we take on FAMU. A lot of things happened in that game. Miami dominated as we all thought would happen, of course. Nobody doubted that we would win that game. Nobody doubted that, they wouldn't be able to put up points on us. Our defense played strong, had a couple hiccups here and there. But nonetheless, we got the job done, and we covered the spread. Miami was a 47-point favorite in that game. We covered it. The over and under, I think we also combined with them to cover that. I think Miami I think we actually covered the over and under by ourselves, because I think it was like 54 or something like that. Miami scored 56, so I'm not quite sure. But obviously, I'm going to pull up ESPN and we're going to look through the stats and everything like that. So, any mistakes that I've made will correct itself during the show, of course. But a lot happened in college football. Like I said, we're just starting with Miami. We're going to start with Miami, and then we're going to move on to the Florida Gator. And then the rest of Florida, the rest of the whole college football. But we got to start with the main ones, of course, that we covered over here. They get the top of the list, top priority and everything like that. So next up for Miami is Ball State. Also, we got to look at the schedule. I think Florida got maybe A&M coming up. I'm not quite sure, but we'll check all that. We'll get into all that. I'm might be getting a little bit ahead of myself. Kind of excited this morning, man. Great weekend. Lots of games got played. Obviously, with me being at the Miami Hurricane game, there's a lot of these games that I did not get to see. So obviously, today, the upcoming week, we're gonna watch some of those, and we're gonna see, how teams did. Obviously, highlights, tells different stories than what actually happened in the games. So if you watch full games, you might say, "Oh wow, they really struggled in this position. They really struggled in that position." The scoreboard might have not told the whole entire truth. So yeah. Let's go ahead and do this. So college football, baby. College football. Y'all get in the chat. Let me know, man. We about to do a roll call right now. How you guys feeling about yesterday? Were you guys impressed with the outing that Miami put out yesterday? A lot of fans showed up. For this to be a FAMU game. Now, obviously, we're in a packed. It wasn't a packed out stadium, but a lot of people showed up. Now, obviously, if you're at the games, that there's a lot of people in the back that don't really come to the front. So, even though we sold like I think 57,000 seats, some of those people was in the back. Some of them in the club areas and all that kind of stuff. Some of them didn't even go inside the game, to be frank with you guys. But nonetheless, it was a good showing for Miami, because you guys know how that stadium get, especially when we play lesser opponents. So obviously, if we keep winning and we get into ACC play and everything's rolling like that, obviously more fans will show up. Some will start believing again. Some will want to come out there and, reconnect. So shout out to all the people that, was out there tailgating and everything like that, showing me that hostility and hurricane love at the same time. Obviously, we're in that Florida State bull crap. So, yeah. Um, let me go ahead and get into this. Let me go ahead and pull up some of these scores and stuff that happened late yesterday. Obviously, ESPN is already trying to move on to the next week, which we'll also talk about the next week. So let's go ahead and pull these up. We'll also talk about next week the games that's coming up this week. Who we gonna pick to win those? Yesterday, tough day, tough day. If you're a betting man, yesterday was a tough day. Yesterday was a tough day. You might have got a couple games here and there where you picked it correctly, but if you were parlaying, I guarantee a lot of people missed those parlays because a lot of teams did not show up and show out. A lot of teams. But nonetheless, yesterday Cam Ward, man, started the Miami Hurricanes starting quarterback, phenomenon. Great day for him. 20 out of 26 passes was completed, 304 yards and 3 touchdowns. Great day for Cam Ward, obviously. Great day. Also, he had a touchdown, a running touchdown, by the way, where he dived into the end zone on the far corner over the pylon, looking like Superman, doing his thing. Kind of scared me a little bit, but when I saw the angle of how he landed and everything, I was like, okay, cool. Don't need this guy going out there getting hurt or anything like that, especially against a team like FAMU. We don't want the tragedy that happened to like Florida State, for example, when they lost to, well, they didn't lose, they won the game, but they lost Jordan Travis at nearly the end of the season to a North Alabama. So we don't need none of that. But good outing. Damian Martinez, 11 carries, 91 yards, and his first touchdown yesterday as a Miami Hurricane. So, shout out to that guy. We don't really need to talk about FAMU stats because they didn't really do much. Their quarterback threw for 131 yards and an interception, no touchdown. FAMU kicked 3 field goals, obviously, nine points. The running back, he was five carries for 31 yards, not much. And their receiver, Gasket, he had 5 catches for 57 yards. Xavier Restrepo doing Xavier Restrepo thing, second consecutive game with 100 yards, 4 catches, 104 yards, and a touchdown. Scored early in the game. Obviously, you guys knew Miami was going to do what Miami does. This is FAMU. Shout out to FAMU though. Outside of playing Miami, they had a great, winning record and everything like that against, their opponents within their conference and stuff. I think at this point you might as well say they run that conference. I think they're in the SWAC. So, shout out to FAM. Come down to Miami, obviously got a beating. I think their head coach is also a Florida State guy who played against Miami in the 90s. So, that's tough. Why don't Florida State play FAM? They're like right next door. Why don't you guys play them, Florida State? Are you guys scared that they might beat y'all and own the city of Tallahassee? That's at this point, I think in 2024, it's safe to say that FAMU probably would give Florida State a run for their money. That's tough. That's tough. But yeah, Florida State did not play yesterday. They got a bye week, so they got to sit back and watch all of college football. Obviously, probably tough for them watching Miami get a nice victory, and probably tough for them watching Florida, explore with their quarterback and DJ Lagway trying to see what they got. Obviously, Florida State still has to play Florida and Miami, so they're going to be watching us regardless. Probably watching the rest of the teams in the ACC, which we're going to talk about later. But yeah, man, great outing for Miami. There's not much to really go into this game and talk about because we all knew this was going to be a dominating game. This is one of those weeks where you schedule a cupcake, you get all the jitters out, you run through all the plays and see what works and what you need to work on and all that. This is one of those games. Obviously, week 2, normally these are in week 1, but we also played another cupcake game last week in the Florida Gators, and beat Florida and Florida A&M in almost the same fashion, basically. Miami gave up a touchdown to Florida accidentally. You've seen the Montreal run. That was obviously a miscue by the defense. So we basically gave them a touchdown. Yeah. But we could go through the scoring drive real quick. Elijah Arroyo, 17-yard catch on the first drive. Miami scores. Then we came down. Restrepo with a 50-yarder scores. And then we went for the 2-point conversion, with Riley Williams running it in. Fam came down, kicked the field goal. Miami, Chris Johnson, 9-yard pass from Cam Ward. Field goal by Borregales, of course. Then field goal for Fam. Mark Fletcher with the touchdown, the 4-yard run. Then you got Damian Martinez with a 33-yard run. Cam Ward, obviously, his single running touchdown was 8 yards out, dived in the end zone, like I said. And later in the game, Jordan Lau, the freshman running back, with a 1-yard touchdown. He actually ran, I forgot how much yards he was before, the play before, and then they gave it to him so he could cap it off. But nice touchdown for the kid, obviously. Yesterday was his birthday, so what a way to celebrate your birthday than to get a touchdown in your first touchdown on your birthday in college. So shout out to him. And later on in the game, Miami kicked the field goal by Abram Murray. Obviously, one of our newer guys, Borregales, backup or whatever. Let him get some of the action. So even our backup kickers were getting in on the action against Fam. Like I said, shout out to Fam, man, for coming down here. Mismatch from the beginning, but they took the beating like a champ. I'm pretty sure they got paid hefty for that beating. Northern Illinois, they got paid $1.4 million to go play Notre Dame and beat them. So hey, that's tough. Sometimes it's hard being on the wrong side of those, but it is what it is. Miami had a total of 449 yards in total offense yesterday. Fam 190. Fam also turned the ball over 3 times. Miami 0. Miami had 31 first downs while Fam only had 13. Dominant win. Vominos Gators, what's going on with you? Mr. Overdose, what's good with you? Aaron Foster in the building. Redhead Kane, what's going on, my guy? Ham, what's good with you? Who else is in the building? The Juice, what's good, my guy? Mo Money Dogs in the building. Shout out to them Georgia Bulldogs in the building. Island Boy, what's good with you? The Nose in the building. Who else we got up in here? King Zay Green, what's good with you? Miss Helen, how you doing this morning? Troy, what's going on? Kenny, what's good with you? Like I said, guys, get in the comment section. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of college football. But like I said, we start with Miami. So Miami handled business. Obviously, home game. That was a 6 o'clock game. The over and under, 55.5. So Miami went over by themselves. Also, Miami was a 46.5 point favorite. We won by 47. So we not only covered the over and under ourselves, we also covered the betting line. So if you betted Miami yesterday to cover the 47 points against Fam, you won. You got you some bread to put in your pocket. If you picked them to go over the over and under, you also won. So, shout out to you guys that did, bet on Miami. It's kind of hard to bet on the home team sometimes because sometimes you don't bet logically. You bet with your heart and not with your head. But for those of you guys that did go out there and bet on Miami, you won yesterday. Hopefully you didn't bet the under, though. Hopefully you didn't bet them not to cover the spread. That's tough. Also, guys, if you want to support the channel financially, if you're watching on YouTube, you can always hit the super chat button. Anything is appreciated. Obviously, on this channel, you don't need to donate anything. I just appreciate you guys tuning in. But if you want to support the channel financially, you can hit the super chat. Also, strolling at the bottom of the screen right now, you got the Cash App. So you guys can hit up the Cash App. Also, if you want to, support the channel financially. No pressure, though. No pressure. All right, so handle business. Miami handled business. We're not going to go into a whole hour segment talking about this game. Obviously, we did what we had to do. We dominated and we got the win, secured it at home. Ball State is coming next, but we're not going to talk about Ball State right now. We're going to talk about the games that got played, the games that got played yesterday. Like I said, guys, ESPN is already trying to move on to the next week, but we got a few games we want to talk about. And obviously, this is Big Three. We could talk about the top 25 games, but first, we want to talk about the Florida Gators versus Samford. Now, I'm just going off stats. I have seen some highlights from the game. I have seen some passes made by DJ Lagway. I have seen some runs made by their running backs. I have seen some plays made by their defense, but I have not watched that game entirely. So I cannot, give you guys definitives on, whether Florida, beat these teams in the trenches and all that other stuff. So obviously, I'm gonna have to watch that game, but I'm gonna give you guys the basics on this, the stats, what happened in the game. Florida improved to 1-1, beating the cupcake Stanford. So, obviously, there's things to talk about there. Also, guys, for those of you who wants to join in on this conversation, obviously, some of you guys did watch the Florida game, especially if you're a Florida fan. You guys are more than welcome to join in on the show. I am putting a link in the chat right now. So for those of you that are Florida Gator fans that watch that game and want to chime in on it, or even the rest of the games in college football, you can click the link. Come on in. Make sure you allow your mic and your camera. And once you do so, afterwards, you could turn the camera off. You don't have to show your face, but definitely need to hear you. But you gotta allow it at first. A lot of people, when it pop up, do you want to allow mic and camera? They click no. Well, you messed up because now you can't come on. But once you click allow, boom, you could turn. It gives you the option to turn the camera off right afterwards. So you guys can click the link and come on in. Obviously, like I said, we're gonna talk about this Florida game. I made it very clear. I have not watched that game. I did not watch that game. Obviously, I was at the Miami game when this game was going on. Florida handled business. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. I just want to pull the stats for you guys, obviously, and go down some of these stats. So DJ Lagway, 18 for 25, 456 yards, 3 touchdowns. What a way to open up a season as a starter. Obviously, Graham Mertz, their starting quarterback, got injured against Miami. Concussion is what I'm hearing. I think Tyler Barron from Tennessee that transferred to Miami came off the edge and put a little hit on him, put a little beating on him. He's out this game. DJ started, and phenomenal start for him. 456 yards and 3 touchdowns. The opposing quarterback in Sanford, he threw for 22 for 31, 144 yards. Obviously, Florida's defense outpowered them. Montrell Johnson in that game, 15 carries for 67 yards and 2 touchdowns. So obviously, light work for them. Nonetheless, I think looking at the numbers, running the ball 15 times for 67 yards is kind of a rough day for a running back, especially against an FCS opponent like that. So they probably struggled in the run game. So we'll definitely want to watch the game and see if that was the case. Eugene Wilson had a phenomenal game looking at the stats. 6 receptions for 141 yards and a touchdown. Now, I did see a small pass to him where he went for like 80 or something like that. So obviously that's a lot of yards on one play. So that's mostly, all the yards that he got. So we'll have to definitely check out the rest of the catches to see how he performed. But nonetheless, 141 yards on the day for him and a touchdown, first touchdowns of the season for him. Obviously, Montrell Johnson was the only one that scored a touchdown against Miami. So Yeah, better bounce back for Florida. They played a lesser opponent this week. They played Samford, whatever these guys are, the Bulldogs. Not much competition. Shout out to Florida for beating up on this team. When the real bullies came to town last week, you know what happened. But it is what it is. Bounce back week for them, man. Congratulations to them. Let's run through the scoring summary, of course. So Montreal Johnson with a 1 yard running touchdown, second week in a row. He scored the first touchdown. Then he also scored again on a 7 yard run. So two touchdowns back to back. Then Tank Hankerson, also a freshman, scored on a 36-yard pass from DJ Lagway. Obviously, Samford, they scored their only in the single and only touchdown of the game with a 1 yard run. Aiden Mazel, he scores 41 yard pass from DJ Lagway. Um, Trace Max kicks a field goal for 25 yards. Eugene Wilson goes 85 yards on a pass from DJ Lagway. Like I told you guys, that 80 yard, out of the 141 that he got, that this one touchdown play, kind of, did it for him. So obviously the number is high on the yardage that he did pick up. And also a run from Aiden Warner. Don't know who that is. Probably like a third string guy, fourth string guy, kind of garbage time touchdown or whatever. So yeah. So total yardage, Florida gave up 205 yards to Samford, one turnover. Samford had 15 first downs to Florida's 21. Um, Florida had 632 yards of total offense against Samford. So that's your stats for that game. Obviously, time of possession, Samford they won that battle. Just didn't have the talent or the manpower to overcome Florida or make this game a little bit more challenging than it is. So the Florida Gators improved to 1-1 with DJ Lagway as their quarterback. Now the question is, and I've seen a lot of Florida fans on Twitter, they have this same question that a lot of people are going to have. This is a dilemma to the fan base. They want to know, come next week, will DJ Lagway be going out there as a starter, or if Graham Mertz is healthy and ready to go, will it be Graham Mertz? The Florida fans are seriously concerned. They don't know who their quarterback is going to be in week 3. It could be DJ Lagway, or it could be right back to Graham Mertz. So obviously they don't want Mertz. They don't want Mertz. After watching Mertz play against Miami, the Florida Gator fans has made it very clear that they don't want Mertz. And then watching DJ Lagway play yesterday solidified it for them. So we're gonna see how this goes, man. Billy got some choices to make. Will he end up playing Lagway next week, or will he go back to playing your guy Graham Mertz? Either way, Florida fans are gonna have a lot to say, and me, I'll be here for it. I'll be all here for it. So a lot happened yesterday, like I said. Let's go back to all the games that happened, all the scores and everything like that. Let's go through some of these and talk about them. Some games we'll spend more time on, obviously, and some we won't. Some things are just given. Like, for example, the number one team in the country, the Georgia Bulldogs, 48-3 against Tennessee Tech. Obviously, nothing to talk about there. This was expected. This is Georgia, one of the most talented team in the country. Composition-wise, I think the only more talented team in the country is Alabama, which we're going to talk about Alabama also, too. They got a win yesterday at home in Tuscaloosa. Saban Field? Yes. They renamed Alabama Field, so obviously we're going to talk about that, too. Nick Saban has solidified his name in Alabama history. Rightfully so. The guy is literally the GOAT of college football when it comes to winning national championships. So them putting his name on the field, we'll talk about that later. Ohio State handled business 56-0 against Western Michigan. Like I said, guys, some of these things we don't have to talk about. This was expected. We don't have to spend 5-10 minutes talking about how Ohio State did. What we can talk about is Jeremiah Smith, the number one player in the country, coming out of high school last season. As a freshman, this game alone, he had 5 receptions for 119 yards and a touchdown. Freak of nature, man. Freak of nature. Everybody wanted him. Came down to Ohio State and Miami. Obviously, he's playing for the Buckeyes. So, doing what's expected of him. Texas went into Michigan and did exactly what I thought they would. They won the game. 7.5 there was a 7.5 point favorite. I thought that was too low, and obviously they went in there and they won 31-12. The big question for Michigan is losing all that talent last season after the national championship. No more sign stealing, by the way. Yeah. Harbaugh moved on to the NFL and got new head coach and, new quarterback and all that kind of stuff. And how would it click? Obviously, a tough game early in the season against a team like Texas, who is loaded with talent and is loading up with talent through, recruiting, the transfer portal, the NIL, all of it's in place. So, Texas went in there and handled business. 31-12. Great game for Quinn Ewers. Threw for 246 yards and 3 touchdowns. Their receiver Ringo, he had a one catch for 55 yards. And Texas pretty much dominated the board against them. I'm sorry. Ringo had 1 carry for 55 yards. He was the leading rusher yesterday. So obviously, kind of a back and forth defensive kind of game. Maybe later on in the second half of the game was a little bit stronger on the defensive side, but Texas handled business. As I thought they would. Now, scoreboard wise, Alabama. Let's talk Alabama. We're gonna talk about Alabama, but I got to share a few things with you guys about that game. I do have a few things saved for that one. I got one video saved for you guys, so let me go ahead and prompt that for you. So monumental day for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Obviously, Nick Saban's name being put on the stadium.
The power of your voice elevated a program, a state, and even brought down the sign before we ever touched it. With Dr. Bell, Coach Saban, Miss Terry, Greg in their places, we're going to bring it down officially now. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, welcome to Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Like I said, guys, monumental day for Alabama. Monumental day for Nick Saban. Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. So Nick Saban cemented his name in Alabama, rightfully so. Did a thing or two at Alabama, unquestionable whether or not he's the GOAT. So Alabama takes on Florida, South Florida. Now last year they went to South Florida and struggled. Nonetheless, they got the win. And this game was also a struggle. At the end of the third quarter, this game was 13-14. Alabama was only a 1-point lead. Now, in the fourth quarter, South Florida, I think, made a huge mistake, and that's where the game turned around for Alabama. That's when the talent, everything showed up. So 4th and 4, you're on. I think they were on Alabama's 4-yard line or something like that, 5-yard line. Crucial game, 13-14. You see, USF decided to take the field goal. Why? Why? So now the game is 21. I'm sorry. Yeah. The game is at that point is 21-13. You take the field goal, you go 21-16. You still need to score another touchdown to basically win the game or be in the lead. So why take a goddamn field goal? I thought that was crazy. I thought USF was. I was like, oh my god, who's making these decisions? Obviously, if you don't get the touchdown, it's a bummer. But you give the ball back to Alabama at like their 4 or 5 yard line, and you play defense. You kick the field goal, you give them the ball back, and then they run a melee on you. They just straight destroyed you. 21 unanswered points after that. USF fumbled one of the biggest game of their lives. And this game could have gone otherwise. Now, it's in history. Alabama 42, South Florida 16. Don't let this score fool you. It was a lot closer down the line than it actually looks on the scoreboard. Now, Milroe, 194, 2 touchdowns. He struggled. He struggled in that game. Alabama struggled in that game. 15 carries for 140 yards for their running back. And the wide receiver, Williams, he had 4 catches for 68 yards. Don't let this scoreboard fool you. Until the end of that game, until the fourth quarter, until they out-talented USF, Alabama struggled. Alabama actually could have possibly taken an L on Saban's field for the first time. Unveiling of the new field, and then boom, catch an L. Could have been a disaster. The fans could have been like literally turning on the bow right now. Like I said, that's tough. Like I said, guys, for those of y'all that just joining in on the show or whatever, just waking up and everything, if you want to chime in on any of these games that got played, you guys could hit the link. But let's continue. The biggest upset of college football in week 2, Northern Illinois beats Notre Dame, the number 5 team in the country. Now, me personally, as a Miami Hurricane fan, watching us win in dominant fashion yesterday, knowing that what it was, looking at some of these teams in the top 10, teams that was ahead of Miami in the rankings, watching these teams play, I'm going to let you guys know right now, and it's a no-brainer. Miami will be a top 10 team come tomorrow, or maybe maybe sometime today if they update the rankings by today. But if not by today, by tomorrow, Miami will be in the top 10. If not in the top 10, probably top 10. Because a lot of these teams struggled yesterday. A lot of teams struggled. A lot of teams lost that wasn't supposed to lose or whatever, this, that, and the third. I can tell you now, just looking at this many games that we've already gone over, Michigan was at number 10. They lost. They're going to drop. Miami's going to be ahead of Michigan, obviously. So that's one team. Miami's at 12 right now, by the way. Notre Dame, they're dropping out of the top 20, top 25 if it's up to me. They just lost to an FCS opponent. The week before they beat Texas A&M, so a lot of people did not see this coming. Notre Dame was a 28-point favorite, if I'm not mistaken. They was a 28-point favorite in this game. They lost this game by a field goal. A last-minute field goal for Notre Dame. Notre Dame tried to win this with a last-minute field goal from like 63 or something. Like a 63-yard field goal. Missed it. Blocked, actually. It got blocked. They didn't miss it. It just got blocked. It didn't have a chance. Northern Illinois, oh my God. This is why college football is so exciting. You never know what could happen. You never know. You never know. Some sure victories aren't sure at all. But God, dog it, Notre Dame. This got to be tough for Marcus Freeman. This got to be tough. You got to tuck your hat and hide yourself from Notre Dame fans. I know those fighting Notre. I know they mad. This is one of those games where you got to go check the boards. You got to go check the boards. Man, losing to FCS opponents. Throw that in Notre Dame's bag of things. Ask teams like Florida State how it feels losing to FCS opponents. Ask the Florida Gators how it feels. The Florida Gators lost to Georgia Southern one of them years in the past or whatever. They lost to an FCS. Florida was considered to be a cupcake for like a couple of years. People was ragging on them. Obviously, JSU, Jacksonville State, beat Florida State, planted their flag in the middle of their field on a go-ahead touchdown to win the game. Losing an FCS opponent will bring shame to your college. A lot of trash talking. Your bragging rights for the rest of the year is over. It's done. You can't say nothing to nobody. If you lose to an FCS opponent in week 1, 2, 3, 4, hell, week 10, week 12, you cannot say nothing for the rest of the year. There's nothing you can do to come back for that for the rest of the year. Notre Dame, your season is over. I don't care what you do the rest of the year. You're obviously not in the conference. This loss right here may have just crippled you. Now, obviously, you guys are not in the conference, and you guys are one of the big names in college, one of the big brands. So people will give you the shout out of the doubt if you had a good record at the end of the year to put you in the 12-team playoffs. I think you just put a dagger in yourself. I think your season is probably a wrap. I don't know how you come back from this. You literally have to blow out every single opponent and hope some other teams take some diving L's like this. Because, man, that's tough. Notre Dame, you are the shame of college football in week 2. Maybe somebody will dethrone you next week, but dang, that's tough. Talk about handling your opponent, winning the game how you're supposed to. Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss, Rebels or whatever, they handled business. They took care of business. 52-3 against Middle Tennessee. Like I said, guys, there's some of these games you don't have to spend 5-10 minutes talking about it. Beat the brakes off Middle Tennessee and kept it moving. Lane Kiffin, Jackson Dart, of course, 377 yards and a touchdown. Great day for him. A running back, Henry Parrish, former Miami Hurricane, transferred to Miami from Ole Miss and transferred back, with his, running backs coach or whatever. Handle business. Henry Parrish, 14 carries, 165 yards, and 4 touchdowns on a day. Hell of a day for him. Shout out to Henry Parrish. And the receiver, of course, 9 catches. Harrison, 9 catches for 130 yards. So, good game for Ole Miss. I want to see what they do against Florida, to be honest with you. That's one of those games I got written down. I think Ole Miss offense probably going to drop by 50 on Florida, but we'll see. B being in the building, speaking of Florida, what's going on with you, my guy? He said, how about them Canes? Excellent. We did pretty good yesterday. Seeing that it was a lesser opponent. I want to see Lane Kiffin versus Florida, though, because obviously right now the Florida fans are high on Lane Kiffin. They want Lane Kiffin. They want Billy gone. Lagway won yesterday, but the heat ain't off Billy yet. That was an FCS opponent. You still got a lot of SEC opponents to play and, go through the whole process of the season. You handle business against Samford with a freshman quarterback, but that doesn't change the trajectory of your season. We need to see you guys play against real opponents like, the Miami Hurricanes. That's tough because you got a lot of those on your schedule. So we're gonna see Texas, they're doing great. Georgia's doing great. Ole Miss doing great. I count those as L's. Oh, Tennessee, they doing great. I count that as another L. I was a little bit higher on Kentucky than I was supposed to. We're gonna talk about that later, but they're on your schedule too. So, obviously Florida State is not who we think they were. So that Florida and Florida State game might be a lot more competitive than we thought it would be. So that's going to be interesting to watch. But nonetheless, man, a lot happened. Ole Miss handled business, took care of business. Another team that I think will drop in the rankings, Miami will be ahead of them. I think Oregon. Oregon won their game by 3 points. Oregon was a huge favorite. I think Oregon was like a 28-point favorite in this game against Boise State. They had to fend off Boise State, won this game by 3 points. It got scary for them. They was actually losing this game 20-14 at the half. They came out in the third quarter, took the lead, scored by 13 points to Boise State's none. So took the lead there. But man, did Boise State hang around and give these guys a scare. Oregon is not the team we thought they were. Obviously, week one showed that they was not the team that they thought they were. They struggled in week one, and now they're struggling in week two. If Lennon and those boys don't get it together, don't, put all these mistakes and bad plays and all that out, get it out the system now, I don't see Oregon, doing too well, especially in that, Big Ten environment. So, and these aren't even Big Ten games that they were playing. They're playing teams that normally in their, areas or whatever, normally in their geographics. So wait till you start going to play, the Michigans of the world, and obviously, I think you'll beat Michigan, but the Ohio States and those guys, it's gonna get tough. It's gonna be some tough environment. Oregon, man, Lennon, you got to get it together. Dylan Gable threw 243 yards and 2 touchdowns. But the talk of the day was the running back from Boise State. Dude had 25 carries for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns, running wild on Oregon. That defense has got to step up. Lennon's statement after the game was a lot to learn from this game. A lot to learn. Obviously. Step your game up. Step your defense up. Plain and simple. Another team that I think will drop and Miami will be ahead of, Penn State. Penn State struggled yesterday against Bowling Green. Bowling Green could have actually won this game. They could have actually won this game. At one point, I thought they would have won this game. I thought Bowling Green would have won this game. Man, what a hell of a year so far in college football. What a hell of a year. Bowling Green quarterback is out there throwing for 254 yards on Penn State. Man, that's tough. Sheesh. Man, that's tough. 34-27, Penn State. Whew, struggling for the powerhouses in the Big Ten in week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, who knows? But in week 2, man, struggling for the Big Ten. Struggling. They're struggling. Amazing. Handling business. You got none other than Missouri at number 9. Missouri will move up in the rankings this week, along, like I said, with teams like the Miami Hurricanes. Missouri handled business 38-0 against Buffalo, lesser opponent. Beat them the way you're supposed to, dominate, and that's it. In the second quarter alone, they scored 21. So, good day for Missouri. Good day for Missouri. Their quarterback, Cook, He threw 228 yards on the day, one interception, no touchdowns. But obviously, it'd be like that sometimes. Some games are going to be more rushing than anything. But the receiver had 13 catches for 149 yards. That's Weasel Jr., by the way. They handle business. The running back also handled business. 12 catches for 73 yards and one touchdown. So obviously, Missouri did Missouri things. Utah stays perfect, goes 2-0. They beat Baylor 23-12. 23-12. Low scoring game, of course. Utah jumped out in the beginning, 17-0 in the first quarter. Then after that, they just slowed down. Not much that Baylor could do against them. So, Utah handled business. Not really much to talk about in that one. I didn't catch that game, so I can't go into details about some of them. Like I said, I am going to put a link back in the chat again. Any of you guys that do want to come in, that watch some of these games, you guys could chime in on them. Obviously, we're going through all the top 25 right now, so we talked about Florida because, this is Big Three, but they're not in the top 25. I just want to throw that out there. Florida is not in the top 25. Florida is not a top 25 team. I don't know why I feel like saying that. I think it's just my love for trolling Florida, but yeah. Anyways, back to the top 25. Utah State took a beating from USC. Number 13 USC handled business 48-0. Coming off of that win last week against LSU, they come out this week and handle business against Utah State. Beat them 48-0. Dominating fashion. I think my guy here, after stepping up to be the leading quarterback now, now that Caleb Williams is gone, a lot of pressure was on him. You got a Heisman Trophy winner that's gone, and now you got to replace him. But I think he's so far, and it's only week 2, so far he's doing pretty good. So far. 229 yards and a touchdown yesterday. Obviously, you're not going to light it up, throw for 300 and something against these lesser opponent. When you're beating them as bad as 48-0, you kind of pull the starters and stuff like that, Only time you see these guys throw like for 300, 400, 500 against these lesser opponents is when, the lesser opponents kind of like, scores here and there and make the game a little bit more uncomfortable than normal. But yeah, good game for him. The running back also carried the ball 13 times for 103 yards and a touchdown. And the tight end, 4 catches for 81 yards to lead the receivers. And yeah, that was, great win for USC. Let's keep it moving. So ACC versus SEC. One of the games that I was like, let's pay attention to this one. Obviously, NC State looked at absolutely terrible in week 1. They looked at suspect. They struggled in week 1. They won, but they struggled. And I seen it. I told you guys, if you watched the show from last week, I told you guys that, NC State was going to lose this game. I told you guys Tennessee was going to win this game, and they were going to win big. And that's what they did. They won this game by 41 points. 51-10. 51-10. Handled business. Their quarterback went out there, and he actually threw 2 interceptions in this game, followed by a pair of 2 touchdowns. But 2 interceptions for 211 yards. Not the greatest day for him. But nonetheless, they were doing great running the ball on the ground. 20 carries, 132 yards, and 2 touchdowns for their, running back, Sapson, whatever. He handled business. And their receiver, he led the day with 2 receptions for 67 yards. Not the greatest day passing for Tennessee, but they was out there running the ball. Dominant running game in that. North Carolina State, man, it's just going to be a tough year for them. Looking at the whole ACC, outside of Miami, everything looks suspect. Everything is suspect. You can't trust any team in the ACC right now outside of Miami. Plain and simple. And I would expect you guys to challenge me on that. Outside of Miami right now in the ACC, what team looks great and don't look suspect to you? Oklahoma escaped with a victory. Escape with a victory against Houston. 16-12. 16-12. Struggle game for Oklahoma and the Sooners, even though they unrailed this new thing that they're going to do at the end of the third quarter, kind of like, how the Florida Gators does the whole Tom Petty won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out, which they did last night where they turned the lights out in the stadium. Everybody hold their phone up for the light, and then they sing the Tom Petty song. I found it funny in the third quarter last week when Miami beat the crap out of them. They tried to do it, and none of their fans sang along. Miami fans was actually in the stands singing the Tom Petty. That's tough. That's tough. But this week, Florida, you get the continual tradition, and you sing the Tom Petty, obviously beating a lesser opponent in Samford, So congratulations to you guys. You got to turn the lights off. You got to shine your phones. And you got to sing Tom Petty, Can't do it every week, but some weeks are better than some. But yeah, Oklahoma got this new tradition. I do have some clips from that. So for those of you guys that are more visual fans, we do got some of those. Going back to the Tennessee game, though, obviously, Harbaugh said that he's expecting some top-notch defense out of Tennessee. There's a clip. You know what? Let me share the clip because I know this is gonna get chopped. I know this is gonna get. Let Tennessee go out and have a bad defensive outing. This is gonna be the trolling material for Tennessee. This is gonna be the trolling material.
Let me just say one more thing. The standard at Tennessee is to be elite on defense. This is the home of Reggie White, Al Wilson, Eric Berry.
Pretty well in the first half.
Now you heard that. Let Tennessee go out there and have a bad game defensively. This is trolling material for every single SEC team, every single opponent that they play against, that light it up on them, and God forbid that they lose. God forbid that Tennessee lose. This is going to be trolling material. Listen, I'm a natural troll, so I'm telling you guys this. I'm giving you guys a heads up. Tennessee fans, the few of you that do hang around the channel, this is trolling material. You got to love it. This is absolute trolling material. If Tennessee goes out and have a bad defensive game, man, they're going to eat them alive. They're going to eat Harbaugh alive. They're going to bring up all these names that all the greats that he just mentioned, and, they're going to troll the crap out of him. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Man, I can't wait to get into some of this stuff that I got for you guys. I see a Florida Gate fan in the chat right now asking me about Graham Mertz or DJ Lagway. Graham Mertz or DJ Lagway. I don't know what to tell you on that one. The freshman had a great game. Great game against a lesser opponent. This is an FCS opponent we're talking about. I think Graham Mertz was out there. He would have did great as well. So I don't know. But I do see the Florida fans asking the same question that you just asked. You're not the only one.
Surprise, motherfucker.
So this is what the Gator fans are talking about. Next week, as you guys can see, next week, starting quarterback, Gator Nation. They got Graham Mertz in that thing. And Billy Napier, obviously the next clip is Billy Napier to the Florida Gator fans.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Florida Gator fans, you guys have you a dilemma. You guys have you a dilemma right now. DJ Lagway or Graham Mertz. DJ Lagway or Graham Mertz. Who do you guys want? Who do you guys want? And who do you think Billy's going to start if Graham Mertz is healthy for that game? Who do you guys want? Florida Gator fans, next week game, if Graham Mertz is healthy, DJ Lagway or Graham Mertz, who do you guys want to see start that game? And who do you think Billy Napier will start in that game? Y'all let me know in the comment section. Y'all let me know in the chat. Florida Gator fans. A few of you guys that are still around, even though Miami, beat the brakes off y'all. Let me know. Okay, so let's get back to these games. Let me see do I got anything for you guys that's, any clips wise that's let me see if I got any material for you guys that, that's talking about the games that we already watched. So, okay, so this one is a little bit lengthy. We're not gonna watch the whole thing. Obviously, there's music involved and everything like that. Since we just talked about the Oklahoma and Houston game, Oklahoma surviving Houston, their first game, I think, at home, if I'm not mistaken, if they haven't played at home already.
And that will send us the third quarter break here in Norman, where the traditions are many.
All right, so we're gonna go straight to it. All right, so here we go. So Oklahoma turned the lights out.
A new one. Here's Toby Keith.
So Oklahoma turned the lights out.
We run this land.
So according to them, at before the fourth quarter starts, at the end of the third quarter, they're going to play this little thing now. They're going to turn the lights out in the stadium, like I said, like the Florida Gators do. And they're going to play this little tribute.
From the rolling country to the open water, the schoolyards, and the oil fields. This is our land, where the dirt and the river run red. This is Sooner country. Around here, we live for this.
So basically, they got clips of the tailgates, they got clips of their games and all that, and their traditions or whatever it is that Sooners do at Sooners games. They'll play.
This is our home. We were made for this. Around here, there's only one.
So obviously, they love Toby Keith or whatever, this, that, and the third. So tributes and all that.
Hey, listen, from our troops overseas to fellow Oklahomans like Jax and Olivia, no one served others like Big Dog Daddy Toby. This one's for Big T.
All right, so obviously for copywriting issues and stuff like that, we will not be, playing the song and everything like that or whatever. But you guys pretty much get the picture. Oklahoma got a new tradition at the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, whatever. So, yeah. Let's get back to these games that got played. Actually, let me double check again and make sure nothing that we talked about ain't been already. I ain't got nothing, no material for you guys, visuals at least. Obviously, we did the Nick Saban thing. We're gonna talk about that game later. So got y'all with the Jim Harbaugh. We do got some celebration stuff too. So, like I said, biggest upset in college football in game one. In week two. Notre Dame. Imagine letting Northern Illinois come up in your spot and do all of this. Man, that's tough. Them boys at a party in y'all locker room. FCS opponent, lesser opponent, less scholarships. Man, that's tough. Less talent. Man, that's tough. We got the catch of the week, but we'll talk about that later. Obviously, like I said, Notre Dame lost that game. And it's a goddamn shame. It's a goddamn shame how they try to win the game, too. It's a goddamn shame. At home, a huge favorite. They're look at this. Notre Dame is at the goddamn 50-yard line with 5 seconds left in this game. At the 50-yard line. Let's see what happened.
62-yarder.
A 62-yard goddamn field goal to hold off an FCS opponent from a huge upset.
Snap, pull, Jeter's kick.
It's blocked. The ball is over yonder. The ball is over here. Notre Dame, you fighting Irish, you trash mother.
It's blocked. Picked up by NIU.
So you paid $1.4 million to watch this.
Huskies have done it. The Huskies with the biggest upset in NIU history.
The biggest upset. Knocked off the number 5 team in the country. You sorry? You goddamn Catholics. That's tough.
They come to South Bend, Indiana, and they knock off the number 5 team in the country.
Laugh at, man, donkey of the day goes to Notre Dame. Donkey of the day. Week 2 donkey of the day goes to Notre Dame. That's tough. God dang it. That's tough right there. You gotta love it. If you're a college football fan that absolutely hate Notre Dame, that's tough. That's tough. Hilarious. Man, that's tough. Now, we did talk about the Tennessee game earlier. I do got a little clip from that. I want to show you guys probably the easiest touchdown in college football that I've seen so far. And I've seen a lot of easy touchdowns. But this one probably ranks up there somewhere in the top 10 But this was probably one of the easiest touchdowns you'll ever see.
Gives you another man to account for when that quarterback run game gets going.
Let me do a little pause in between here. So obviously don't want to get no copyrights for these playing these clips in these games and stuff like that. But this, like I said, probably one of the easiest touchdowns you'll ever see.
And another player, defensive player, you got to bring down close to the line of scrimmage.
I got to start cutting these goddamn highlights because they taking too goddamn long to call hype.
If they get that quarterback run game going.
Maliaba pulls it in.
Easy. Too easy. Too easy. Listen, the pandemic is over. The pandemic is absolutely over. But look at this social distancing. Look at this social distancing. Come on, guys. NC State. Y'all are bringing shame to the ACC. Y'all are bringing shame to the ACC. Look at the space between these two. Look, this is like somebody got to get a measuring stick out there. That's got to be almost damn near 10 yards. Almost 10 yards. Come on, Ted. Come on, man. Get it together. Get it together. ACC, man. I think the SEC took it personal last year when we beat them head to head. I think we beat them like 6-4 or something like that. You know, Miami handled Texas A&M. Obviously, this year's been going a little bit up and down for the ACC, SEC. Virginia Tech already lost to Vanderbilt. Obviously, North Carolina State just lost to Tennessee. Of course, Miami handled Florida. But it's a couple other games that got played that, you know, we'll go over those. Clemson got the bejesus beat out of them by Georgia. So ACC versus SEC is not going too well. But, you know, the Miami Hurricanes, we handled our business. We're the SEC killers right now. You know, starting from last year, we SEC killers. So, you know, and it's just going to keep going. Next year, we're going to murder Florida again, and it'll be like that. It's just going to be like that. But, man, do I got anything else in the chamber for you guys? Let me see what I got. What I got? Any more for you guys? Oh, speaking of the first game that we actually, one of the first games that we actually talk about, the Michigan versus Texas game. I never knew the experience of watching a Texas game was this freaking great. Now, Dallas, this is in Dallas. They're watching it. I think it's called Custom or something like that. Dallas. But I want you guys to see the experience of watching this game at this certain particular spot in Dallas. This is amazing. Technology at its best. One of the best viewing of a game that I've ever seen. This was a hell of an experience for Texas fans. You literally felt like you was at the game. From what I'm seeing, it looks like it. But you guys check this out. Now, if you didn't know that they was watching this game from actually in Texas, you probably would think this was actual at the game. That's one of the biggest screens I've ever seen. If I was there, I probably would have felt like I was in the back of the end zone for real. That's dope. If I was in front of there when he scored that touchdown, especially if they're running towards that end zone, I would probably think that he's going to run into me. That's tough. Man, hold on. Let me give you guys another one because there's another different view of it so you guys can see. Here's another view of it. You're going to feel like you're actually there. There's different camera angles of this. So obviously they are not at the game. They are not at the game. But it makes it feel like you're actually in the stands, right? Look at you. You would feel like you're in that part of the stadium. So obviously, what I think they've done, they send certain people to the game. Obviously, you know, cameras and different views and stuff. They set up there, and then they play it as if you're actually there because you're watching it these big widescreen from the view of somebody that's actually there. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. I think this is an experience that if you live in Texas, you just gotta experience a away game. If you can't make it to an away game, this would be one of those places you would have to go to experience this. Not quite sure the cost of something like this, but what an experience. What an experience. As a college football fan, that is dope. That is absolutely phenomenal. Back to the games though, man. Back to the games. Let's talk about Arkansas choke, the biggest choke of the day. The biggest choke of the day, Arkansas totally dominating. I mean, dominating Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State was an 8-point favorite in this game, and obviously they won by 8 points. So if you pick them to cover the spread, you just you draw, you pull even. Arkansas had this game. I was watching this. Arkansas had this game. Arkansas was dominating in the beginning of this game. Oklahoma State looked like they couldn't do nothing against them. They was running the ball well, passing the ball well. In the first half, they was up 21-7. They was up 21-7. Obviously, in the third quarter, didn't score any points, but Oklahoma State only put up 6 points, 2 field goals. So I'm thinking Arkansas got this game. To my surprise, because I pulled up at Miami and I stopped and I wasn't paying attention to this no more. To my surprise, Arkansas lost in double overtime. Lost by 8 points to Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State stays undefeated while the SEC picks up another L for all you SEC owners out there. That's tough. But I thought this was a sure win for Arkansas. This is why college football is full of surprises. I had so many parlays going yesterday. I've learned my lesson. Stop getting greedy and going too big. I'm going to start doing different set of parlays. I'm going to start doing 5 sets. Instead of picking 8, 9, 10 teams and stuff like that and doing all that, going against the spreads and stuff like that, I'm going to pick 5. 5 seems to be my lucky number because there's always these 1 or 2 teams that end up breaking my parlay. So obviously right now you're in the state of Florida. This is not paid promotion. I'm not getting paid to promote them, and I'm not promoting betting and gambling to anybody. Do it at your own will. Bet at your own will. But I use Hard Rock. Hard Rock. It's legal in Florida. Hard Rock, the betting app. I'm going to start doing 5 team parlays. I'm going to stop bunching up some of these because obviously, like I said, college football, anything happen any week. I know there's a lot of people right now that probably took Notre Dame to win the game. Probably took them to cover the points. That's tough. And if you have a game like that on your parlay, it ruins everything. So I'm gonna stick to the 5 or 6 or whatever. Yeah, 5 or 6 teams, because it's always those couple oddballs that mess me up. I picked Duke to win. Manny Diaz handled business. We're going to talk about that later. I picked BYU to cover the spread against SMU. They won. Good. But the rest of the games along the way, some of these teams actually surprised me. That's tough. Man, that's tough. But yeah, let's keep moving though. Great outing for, great comeback win for Oklahoma State. Arkansas quarterback threw for 416 yards in that game, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Their running back ran for 150 off of 24 carries, 3 touchdowns. Arkansas wide receiver led the game, 10 receptions for 164 yards. I'm shocked that Oklahoma State won this game. I'm shocked. I thought this was a sure win for Arkansas. But, man, college football. Tulane had the game in their hands, and they gave it away. Tulane could have actually beat Kansas State, but they gave that game away. Not quite sure what the spread was on it, but if you took Kansas State to win the game, you obviously won. They probably was a huge favorite, so it wouldn't probably be a lot of money in the money line. The odds probably was like maybe in the 300s, negative 300, so you ain't gonna win much, kind of thing. But nonetheless, I don't know what the spread was, but Tulane only lost this game by 7 points. So if the spread was more than 7, and you took Tulane to cover, then you win you some money. But man, a lot of tough games. Nichols, they put up a lot more points on LSU than I thought they would. Score was 44-21. Obviously, good game for LSU. They won. They bounced back after the loss last week to USC in a tough game. But nonetheless they won. Quarterback threw for 6 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns in that game. 302 yards, 6 touchdowns. Nichols running back had a day though. 25 carries for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns. So a lot of yards given up on the ground by LSU. So, that might be something they want to work on. Upset. Another upset in the top 25. Kansas goes down to Illinois. Illinois improved to 2-0. Kansas 1-1. Kansas loses this game by 6 points, 23-17. So if you took Kansas for the upset, then obviously you won. 1 second. Yeah, so upset, man. Kansas got knocked off. Illinois quarterback threw for 192 yards on them. Their running back had a decent day with a 100 yard day, whatever, off of 14 carries, and then Illinois obviously receiver nine catches for 99 yards. So that's tough. That's tough. Upsets, man, they happen. Another game, Northern Arizona made it very uncomfortable for Arizona. Arizona ended up winning this game by 12 points. They was favored by a lot more. So if you took Arizona to cover the spread yesterday, boy, did you lose. Boy, did you lose. Arizona improves to 2-0 with a struggle win against a lesser opponent. That's tough. That's tough. Another upset. An in-state rivalry game. Iowa State beats Iowa. Iowa State beat Iowa. Now, Iowa State winning drive or whatever, 54-yard field goal lead to the upset. They won the game by a point. Iowa going into this game miraculously was only a 2.5 point favorite. 2.5 point favorite. Obviously, everybody say, you know what, Iowa's going to have a great year. They've been hyping them up, and lost the game, lost by a point, upset. I took Iowa for the 2.5 points, and I got messed up on a lot of my parlays by doing so. But this is what happened when you play rivals. Obviously, everybody can't be a 2-point favorite and then go out there and beat a team 41-17. I'm going to say it again. Everybody cannot be a 2.5 point favorite and then go out there and beat a team 41-17 in a rivalry game. That's tough. I ain't talking about nobody in particular. Man, that's tough. We're going to keep it moving, though. Louisville handled business against Jacksonville State. They beat them 49-14. Florida State, you see that? Louisville beat Jacksonville State 49-14. That is how you handle your cupcake game. That is how you win your cupcake game against Jacksonville State. That is how you beat your cupcake team. Florida State. This is how you beat Jacksonville State. When you play them, when you schedule them as a cupcake game, when you bring them to your stadium as a cupcake game, where you're paying them like $1 million and something as a cupcake game, you don't become the cupcake. Georgia Tech, the quickest ranked and unranked team I've seen for the ACC in a long time. But, this happens all the time. Georgia Tech versus Syracuse. Syracuse jumped out on them. Georgia Tech fought back, but to no avail, they lost the game. Lost by 3, 31-28. Georgia Tech, ranked number 23, after week 1 beating Florida State and last week knocking off like a Georgia Southern or something like that, Georgia State or something, comes out this week and get beat by Syracuse. The ACC at this point outside of Miami is wide open. It's wide open. NC State got trashed by Tennessee. Georgia Tech ranked, now they got knocked off. That's an ACC loss. Clemson, by the way, they handled business. 66-20 against freaking App State, though. It's App State. This is what we do. This is what happens to App State. Thank God Miami doesn't have Manny Diaz no more. Because remember when we barely beat App State? I think we beat App State by 2 points one of those games. I think we beat them by 2 points or something. It came down to like App State and Miami or whatever. Nonetheless, we barely beat App State. And Manny Diaz said, this is App State. This is what they do. They do this to everybody. The same thing he said about Alabama when we lost. Let me, anyway. App State. This is freaking App State, Clemson. You don't get no cool points for this. You beat them 66-20. That's a 46-point win. Congratulations. But the ACC, to me, is wide open. It's wide open. It's for the taking. And Miami is at the top of the list to take it. Plain and simple. Klubnik threw for 378 yards and 5 touchdowns. He can't do it against no better opponents, though. We saw what he did against Georgia. Now, keep in mind, that's Georgia. Oh, shit, I'm on my Manny Diaz shit. I'd say that's Georgia. But when he play a better opponent, what I'm trying to say is he don't show up like this. Now, rightfully so, most quarterbacks not going to show up like this. But that's tough. Brandon Lee at T2Y. You watch Shedeur Sanders and Colorado get absolutely manhandled. No, I did not watch it. But I did see the score, and I did see that it was at one point 28-0, and at the end it was like 28-10, so 10 points or whatever. And I did see a despicable act by Shedeur Sanders in Colorado, so, leaving the game, going into the locker room before it's even over. Abandoning your team out there. That's tough. That's tough. Stand in the fire. Stand in the fire. When it's victory, you stay out there, you celebrate, you do all the talking, you do all the media stuff. But when you lose or you're losing, you want to escape and go to the locker room. You don't want to face the humiliation and all that stuff. Ham says Henry Lee still missing. Yes, Henry Lee is missing, guys. We put out a missing person for Henry Lee. We put him on a milk carton. We still haven't found Henry Lee. For those of you guys that's probably wondering, T2I, who the hell is Henry Lee? Not the guy that does the barbecue or anything like that. But Henry Lee is a Florida State fan that's on the channel a lot. That was here all off season, talking about how Florida State is great, calling Miami Miami's coach Mario Cristobal big dummy Mario is what he was screaming all season. Well, Florida State goes to Dublin, he guaranteed wins, and then boom, disappear. We haven't seen Henry Lee since week 1. I'm sorry, since week 0. We have not seen Henry Lee since week 0. Henry Lee, if you're out there, let us know that you're safe. Get in the chat. Get in the chat. Come stand in the fire. Come stand in the fire. Come stand right next to Big Dummy Norvell. Big Dummy Norvell. You can't spell Norvell without 2 L's. Them boys is 0-2. 0-2. That's tough. That's tough. Henry Lee done abandoned the chat. Henry Lee done abandoned the Florida State fan. That's tough, Henry Lee. Man, that's tough. All right, let's see. Top 25 games, we talked about them. Let's go into some conference play for the Big 4. No longer a Big 5 or whatever, but let's go talk about the games that got played in the ACC. We'll start with the ACC first. Obviously, alphabetical order. ACC pops up first. The games that we already talked about, the teams that are ranked and all that, we'll skip over those. SMU took an L to BYU at home in Dallas. One of the most boringest games I've ever watched in my entire life. One of the most boring game I've ever watched in my entire life. BYU wins by 3 points at SMU, at Dallas. Not much to talk about. SMU is pure trash to me. Be honest. I'm being 100% honest with you. Rhett Lashlee team is straight garbage. And there's a lot of former Miami Hurricane players on that team. A lot of them. I'm so happy that Miami is going in the direction that they are going now. I'm glad some of these players are no longer on our team. Brashard Smith is a goddamn running back now. For SMU, he's literally a running back now. Jalen Knighton is goddamn non-existent. So he non-existent over at SMU. Then you got Romello Brinson, ain't doing much. Not doing much at all. BYU handled business in the most boringest fashion. That game was boring. Absolute boring. I watched it. Oh, let's talk about another one. Manny Diaz and Duke. Duke is 2-0 under Manny Diaz. The Manny Diaz era at Duke has started at 2-0. And I'm telling you, the scariest football I've ever watched in my entire life is Duke. Duke, the way Manny Diaz played for field goals at Miami is exactly what Duke did against Northwestern. I watched this game and I was bored out of my mind. Duke, offensively, is trash, garbage, Basuda, all of that. Duke, Miami is going to blow the brakes off Duke. If Miami don't blow the brakes off Duke, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'll have to come up with something crazy to do. I would have to come up with something crazy to do if Miami don't blow the brakes off Duke. Ain't no way in hell Miami should struggle against Duke after I watched them play Northwestern. Ain't no way in hell. Boring. This game was absolutely boring. Dang, I had an energy drink that night because I wanted to stay up and watch these games. I regretted it. Boring. Bored out of my mind and can't sleep. That's tough. Man, that's tough. We talked about Tennessee. We talked about Louisville. We talked about Syracuse, Clemson. Pitt. The Panthers. The Pitt Panthers. Comeback of the year. They was getting the boat. They was getting boat raced in this game. By the way, T2I, did you get your money yet? Talking about Graham Mertz throwing 300 yards. No, I have not seen that Florida State fan since we made that bet. I do have that bet on my Twitter, by the way. It's pinned at the top. So whenever he comes around, if he comes back around, which I know a lot of Florida State fans are not coming back around, but when he does come around, the bet is still there. So I'll see if I can collect. But half of these people, that's why I don't like to bet on the internet. That's why I don't like to bet fans, because when it's time to collect the money, you got to go on a manhunt for them. See, if I make a bet and I lose it, I'm not hard to find. All you got to do is come to my Twitter, come to my YouTube live, get in the chat. That's it. I'm not hard to find. But with these other guys, when I make these bets with them online, that's why I don't like to do it. I'd rather bet with Vegas because Vegas going to pay out. You lose the bet, the money's already gone. You win the bet, they send you your money. That's why I like to bet with Vegas and not bet with fans on there. Oh, T2I, you talking about Florida, this, that, and that. Bet. Okay, I'll bet you. But then I got to go on a manhunt to get my money. That's tough. Now, me personally, if you ain't got the money to pay me right away or anything like that, that's cool. Just tell me that. And, I ain't going to hunt you down and I ain't going to troll you or nothing like that. Just give it to me when you give it to me. If you set up a date that you're going to give it to me, that's cool. I'm cool with that. But Florida State fans, you coming on here, you bet me $300. You bet me that Graham Mertz going to throw 300. We bet 100 on it, and I can't find you. That's tough. But it'd be like that. Lesson learned. My pastor told me I shouldn't be betting anyway. I should probably stick to that little motto, that little joke that I made up, but I probably should stick to it, actually. So Pitt, yeah, man, in comeback fashion, beats Cincinnati. Cincinnati, I think, was a 2-point favorite in this. I think a lot of people took this, especially felt happy about it when you saw that they was beating the brakes off Pitt in the beginning of the game. They were dominating them. And then, to my surprise, because I didn't watch the finishing or the end of this game, Pitt won the game. So I guess great win for the ACC over the SEC, the Big 12, whatever they're in, the Big 12. Congratulations, Pitt, 2-0. Unfortunately for my, I don't think Pitt is on our schedule. I don't think Pitt is Pitt on Miami's schedule. Hold on, I gotta find out, because if so, we gonna beat the brakes off Pitt if they're on our schedule. If Pitt is on Miami's schedule, we're going to beat the brakes off them. Dang, Pitt, you got lucky. You're not on Miami's schedule. Pitt, you got lucky. You're not on Miami's schedule. Because, boy, yesterday, what you guys showed me, belt to ass. That's tough. Congratulations to Cal, new member of the ACC. Got a win over the SEC. This is what I'm talking about. The ACC versus SEC, teams that win and teams that lose. Cal handled business against Auburn. Auburn was a 13-point favorite in this one. I thought Auburn was going to win this game. I actually picked Auburn to cover that spread. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. Great win for you, Cal. 21-14. Handled business. Handled business. Cal's quarterback threw for 233 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game. Auburn running back 12 carries for 68 yards, and Cal receiver had 4 catches for 63 yards. Those are the leaders in the stats for that game. Great win for the ACC. I guess Cal is not a dead program that we thought they were. Or maybe Auburn's just that damn bad. Which one is it? Which one is it? But that's tough. That's tough. Man, that's tough. That's tough. ACC versus SEC. I do have a list somewhere of all the games that will be played between them. I got to find it and see which ones are coming up next. See which games are coming up next. I got to put together a list of ACC versus SEC games. Yeah, but I did it in week 1. I can't find the graphics that I made for it. Hopefully I got it pinned somewhere on Twitter or something. I could find it, but yeah. Let's keep it moving. Boston College handled business. You know, after beating Florida State last week, they come out and beat Duquette 56-0. Handled business. Not much to talk about. You know, lesser opponent. Handled business. Good game. That's it. That's all we need to talk about with Duquette and Boston. North Carolina, kind of it's crazy when you see an 18-point win and you say kind of like a struggle win. Obviously, I haven't watched this game. Today, I'm going to take the time out to watch a lot of these games in the condensed version. Few games that, you know, might be a little bit interesting to watch. Definitely opponents that Miami takes on. Obviously, North Carolina is not an opponent we play this year, so not going to pay too much attention to them. They won by 18 against Charlotte. Like I said, lesser opponent. They won. They improved to 2-0 after last week beating Minnesota. I think it was either last week or in week 0, one of them. But they beat Minnesota. So, you know, North Carolina, what will they do this year? Can Matt Brown run some tables this year? The ACC is wide open at this moment. A lot of teams that we thought was going to be, you know, this unstoppable force, like, you know, Florida State and Clemson, they haven't showed up. So outside of Miami, the ACC is wide open. Bounce back week for Virginia Tech. Bounce back week. They beat Marshall. Now, catch of the year probably. Catch of the year. Probably catch of the century. Probably catch for a long time in college football. I seen an amazing catch yesterday from Marshall. One of the craziest catches I've seen in college football. One of the craziest catch. It was done by Marshall to Virginia Tech. It was done by Marshall to Virginia Tech. Trying to see if I got that thing queued up for you guys, because that was a hell of a catch, man. Ain't no way in hell I don't have that queued up for you guys. I gotta have that. Oh, here we go. I definitely got it queued up for you guys. So this is probably the catch of the year. Probably catch of some years, like I said. But check this out.
Good protection. And there's a guy you like.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way, boy. Ain't no way. This DB just got baptized. This DB just got baptized. That DB, Virginia Tech DB, what is it, number 4? Number 4 for Virginia Tech just got baptized. He's a 7-day Adventist. He's a 7-day Adventist. He just got baptized on Saturday. He's a 7-day Adventist. Now, first glance, it probably don't look that crazy, but I need you guys to see. They're gonna show the replay. This is definitely replay worthy. Look at this. Look at this catch. Let me pause it. Let me pause it before we get to it. I don't need no copyrights. I don't need the copyrights or whatever. That's tough. But check this. Check the catch.
Coin the term. You just got mossed. This is big time.
One hand. One hand. You got Moss. Didn't Randy Moss play for Marshall? If I'm not mistaken, didn't Randy Moss play for Marshall? Y'all let me know in the chat. Did Randy Moss play for Marshall?
Using the right hand, basically staring
Look at this. Look at this. One hand. Snagged. Number 4 for Virginia Tech got baptized. Plain and simple. On a Saturday. He's a 7-day Adventist. Man, that's tough. Dang, that's tough, Virginia Tech. Do better next time. Evangelist Baptist. That's tough. New Age Evangelist Baptist. That's tough. Whatever, listen, man, whatever whoever go to church on Saturdays, whatever that religion is, whatever you call it, he just got baptized on that day. He's a part of that religion now. Man, talk about CSI victim. That's a victim unit right there. That's a victim. He's a victim. Somebody should check on that guy to make sure he's okay. My goodness. That's tough. That's absolutely tough. Shout out to Stanford, new member of the ACC. They handled business 41-7. 41-7 against a lesser opponent, by the way. You know, like I said, not much to really talk about. You know, SCS opponents, man. Stanford with the win. Good for them. Bounce back after losing to TCU. You know, good for them. Upset. Sometimes I think Vegas is involved in some of these games. I'm not even gonna lie. Sometimes I think these things are actually rigged. This game, Wake Forest was a 1-point favorite. Wake Forest was a 1-point favorite. Sometimes I actually think these things are rigged. Wake Forest was a 1-point favorite. They lost this game by 1 point. They lost this game by 1 point. That's tough. Virginia improves to 2-0. Wake Forest 1-1. Virginia wins 31-30. 31-30. Wake Forest 1-point favorite and lost. Sometimes I swear I think these things are rigged. I swear I think they're rigged. Sometimes, you know, that's tough. That's tough. Let's get out of the ACC. Obviously, we ran down the rest of the ACC, the teams that are not ranked. You know, the games that was played. Some of them more interesting than others, but you know, nonetheless, let's go on over to the Big 12. Another team that's in a big conference. You know, some games that are, you know, watchable and worthy of watching. We already talked about quite a few of these games already. So we're going to go try to find the ones that are not ranked that we haven't talked about. West Virginia beats U Albany. Nothing to really see there, 49-14. West Virginia gets its first win of the year. Lesser opponent kind of deal. Their quarterback throws for Albany's quarterback actually threw for 306 yards on West Virginia. Albany's quarterback threw for 306 yards on West Virginia. I think it's safe to say that West Virginia might have a long year. They might have a freaking long year. 1 second, guys. That's tough. UCF, they handled business 45-14 against Sam Houston. Lesser opponent, beat them the way you're supposed to. Keep it moving. KJ Jefferson threw for 167 yards, no touchdowns. That's kind of stats kind of crazy to see that he didn't throw no touchdowns, but probably was mostly a running game for them. I did not watch that game for obvious reasons. The running back Harvey did have 19 carries for 126 yards and 4 touchdowns, so that probably explained the passing yardage for KJ. And obviously their receiver 5 catches, 104 yards in Hudson. So it's kind of shocking that they didn't have any passing touchdowns, but obviously you can tell that most of the touchdowns probably came on the ground. That's tough, 45-14. Keep it moving. The one that most of you guys really want to talk about, the one that you guys been really trying to get me to hurry up and get to, Colorado versus Nebraska. Colorado versus Nebraska. Dylan Raiola, once committed to the University of Georgia, decommits, goes over to Nebraska to play for Matt Rhule. Had a hell of a day. Now, obviously, the leading quarterback of the day was none other than Deion Sanders' son. Dude threw for 244 yards, 1 touchdown, and an interception. Nebraska's running back had a good day. 17 carries for 74 yards and 2 touchdowns. And, of course, Travis Hunter being the athlete that he is, 10 catches for 110 yards, but no touchdowns. Nebraska at home handled business against Colorado, beat them 28-10. Nebraska was the favorite in this game. I think there was like a 6.5 point favorite. So if you took Nebraska to win and to cover the points, you got it. You got it. They handled business. They beat Deion Sanders and them boys. At the end of the first half, they was up 28-0. And they didn't score in the second half. Kind of disappointing to me. Kind of probably disappointing to a lot of you fans. Because let's be honest. You want to see big-time guys like Deion Sanders get blown out. Let's be honest. Because he do a lot of talking in the media. He do a lot of trash talking and hype and stuff like that. So a lot of people want to shut him up. Now, me personally, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not on that train. I actually want Deion Sanders to do good. I actually want him to do good. But I know what the world wants, and I know what the world wants to see. When you a big dog, when you talk a lot, they want to humble you. They want to humble you. And boy, was this win for Nebraska humbling. Shedeur Sanders, shame on you. Shame on you. Leaving the game before the game is over because you lost. Where's the sportsmanship? I'm sure you've beaten plenty of opponents. I'm sure you stayed for those. But when you take an L, you stand in the paint like a man. That's tough. That's tough. Nebraska handled business. Colorado. Where do Colorado go from after this? Where do Colorado go after this? Do they bounce back? Who are their next opponent? We're going to talk about these guys. Obviously, the top 10, the top 15, the top 25 is going to change. We're going to talk about the games that's going to get played next week before the rankings change. And then we're going to talk about all the big 4 teams that plays next week, the games that are being played next week. But let's get through all these big, 4 teams that played that's outside of the 25 rankings. Obviously, that's what we're doing now. That's tough, Nebraska. That's tough, man. Y'all out here, winning games in the first half. That's tough. That's tough. Long Island University had no chance against TCU. 45-0. TCU beat an FCS opponent the way they're supposed to. Let's keep it moving. Texas Tech, Washington State. This was one of those games that if you pick Washington State to win and cover the spread, which I think they was like a 1-point favorite or 2-point favorite, something like that, you won big. They won big. This game was over by halftime, 27-10 at half. And then they came out in the third and they poured on another touchdown and, sealed the deal, 37-16. Good win for Washington State. Washington State is obviously, and Oregon State, those are the only two teams that's left in the Pac-12. Get a good win over Texas Tech, Big 10, Big 12 opponent, Big 12 opponent. So shout out to Washington State. They're at the moment they're 2-0. And last but not least, the Big 12 took a chunk out of the SEC. Mississippi State takes an L to Arizona State, 30-23. Another L for the SEC. For all you SEC homers that watch the channel. That's tough. Nice L. Mississippi State quarterback led the day, 268 yards for 2 touchdowns. Obviously, Arizona's running game was a little bit more on point than normal. Literally, my guy, I think his name's Skatebo or something like that. Skatebo. I'm gonna call him Skatebo. I'm gonna just call him Skate. How about that? My dude name is Skate. Skate ran for 262 yards on Mississippi State on 33 carries. This was a run the ball kind of day for Arizona State. 262 yards on the day. I'm surprised he don't have a touchdown. That's tough. Pound the ball. Mississippi State receiver Coleman, he led the day with 103 yards and a touchdown on 4 receptions. But man, huge win for Arizona State. They improved it to 2-0. Nice win over the SEC. That's tough. Quan, what's going on with you? Nebraska could have scored 60. They should have. The world would have appreciated it. Clemson should be a top 15 team, no doubt. Why? It's App State. They beat App State. Why should Clemson be a top 15 team? Why? We just saw Georgia beat them by 31 goddamn points. They should be a top 15 team because they beat a App State. But you know what? That's not out of the realm of possibilities because a lot of teams struggled yesterday. A lot of teams within the top 20, top 25, they struggled. So should be interesting. You might not be way off with that one. You might not be way off with that one, Randall. But all right, let's keep it moving. Let's go into the Big Ten. Let's go into the Big Ten and check those games. Games got played, guys. The games got played. A lot of talking, but the games got to get played. Friday night, nothing to see here. Indiana beat the brakes off Western Illinois. Beat them how you're supposed to beat an FCS opponent, of course. 77-3. T2Y, do you think Mario will allow Cam to pass for over 300 a game for Heisman? Oh, absolutely. If you check Miami right now, we're pretty balanced. We're running the ball and we're passing the ball. Both of them, 300 yards. It's doable. If my guy could throw for 300 yards each game, Heisman, no doubt. I think he's the leading candidate right now, if I'm not mistaken. After last week he was, so I'm not quite sure where they got him at. He should be top 5, or probably the number 1 on the list for the Heisman. 2 great weeks, over 300. I think he's at like maybe 300 and something yards each. The first game he threw for like 385. This game he threw for 304. So he's probably averaging around 300 and let's throw it in there, about 340 or something like that. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he continued to play like that. As long as the receivers are catching and getting open, long as the running game is doing what it's doing, it's pretty balanced. Yeah, he can go 300 each game. Some opponents going to be more difficult though. Some games are going to be more run the ball because the defense probably can't stop the run. Florida State, they can't stop the run. Brett Key already done told you. Boston College already done told you. Run the ball. So maybe games like that, you don't have to pass as much. So, I could see him throwing for 300 in most games, if not all. In most games, if not all. Balance. Definitely should be able to throw for 300 on Duke. That's tough. Ohio State handled business 56-0. Western Michigan. Nothing to see there. Nothing to see there. We talked about that already. We talked about those. Minnesota. Okay, so Minnesota versus Rhode Island. They handle business. Nothing to see. Nothing to talk about. 48-0. Beat an FCS opponent. Bounced back after losing to North Carolina last week. That's it. Nothing to talk about. Michigan State upsets Maryland. Maryland was an 8-point favorite in this one. How do I know? Because I picked goddamn Maryland to win. But Michigan State went out there and beat them. Michigan State went out there and beat them by 3. Beat them by 3 in College Park. Man, that's tough, Maryland. Y'all. That's why when I tell you guys each week when we looking at these teams and trying to make these bets, it's certain games that you just stay away from. That Michigan State game was one of those. I went against the grain and picked Maryland to cover the 8. I thought they would went out there and handle business, and clearly they didn't. First quarter was great, and then after that, everything went downhill for Maryland. Michigan State handled business. Good job. Good job to them. Their quarterback threw for 363 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he also threw 3 interceptions in that game. Still got the job done. Leading rusher in that game was Michigan State's running back Carter, 11 for 59 yards. But, the talk of the day was the wide receiver for Michigan State, 8 catches, 194 yards and a touchdown. Michigan State was out there slinging it, plain and simple. Washington handled business against East Michigan, 30-9. This game was over by halftime. It's one of those, nothing to really talk about here. Washington improves to 2-0. Obviously coming off a season where you went to the national championship and just came up a little bit short against Michigan. Your head coach, departs. You get a new quarterback, all that kind of stuff. So, Will Rogers yesterday threw for 261 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like I said, lesser opponents, guys, SCS opponents, some of these stats do not take them too serious. Like I said in my post-game video last night for Miami when we beat FAMU, not much to talk about. This is a team that we know that we were more talented than. We know we're going to beat them. We're going to dominate them. So obviously, some of these games, you know the difference in talent, so you don't really put too much into it. This is one of those games. Wisconsin handled business. Tyler Van Dyke threw for 214 yards and a touchdown. 27-13 against South Dakota. 27 against, Wisconsin is just one of those teams that if you're a Miami Hurricane fan, for some odd reason, let's be honest, it ain't no odd reason. It's Tyler Van Dyke, god dang it. TVD, you're going to be paying attention to Wisconsin. Now, some of our fans are scorned by Tyler Van Dyke. We want to see him lose. Some of us, we don't care what he do as long as it don't get in Miami's way. But it is what it is. Some of us are scorned by him holding us hostage last year for money with using Alabama and then showing up in the season the way he did. Absolutely terrible. So A lot of fans definitely want to see him do absolutely terrible. So Wisconsin got a lot of viewership from Miami at this point. Maybe not watching the game itself, but definitely the scoreboard and definitely the stats for Tyler Van Dyke and how he played. That's tough, but they got it done. The receiver, C.J. Williams, he had 2 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown. Not the way you want to beat an FCS opponent, 27-13. That's kind of a little bit too close for comfort, especially in games like this. I can almost guarantee you that the spread in this game was way higher than that. Way higher than that. I can guarantee you that they were supposed to beat South Dakota by way more than 14 points. As a matter of fact, let's go down that rabbit hole real quick. Let's go down that rabbit hole. Let's see if they still have those up. Okay, so obviously they didn't really believe in them that much, but nonetheless, the spread was 17.5. 17.5. They won by 14, so they didn't cover the spread. Well, I told you. Over and under 44.5. They scored 40 points in that game. So, yeah, there's not too much hype on that Wisconsin. There's not too much hype on them. They did not cover the spread, though. They beat a lesser opponent by 14 instead of the 17.5, which is kind of tough for a D1 school to be getting such low spread against FCS opponents. A lot of people probably got a lot of Wisconsin fans, a lot of sports fans probably got baited into that one, saying ain't no way that Wisconsin's not going to cover this little 17.5 points. But if you know Tyler Van Dyke, like Miami fans know Tyler Van Dyke, they saw this in the realm of possibilities. That's tough. Obviously, we talked about Nebraska stumping out Colorado already. So let's go on into the big old best conference, allegedly, in the whole college football, the SEC. The guys that claim to be the best in everything. So let's go through the SEC games that we have not already talked about, which probably is slim to none because most of them should be ranked. McNeese State versus Texas A&M. Texas A&M bounced back. Game was over by halftime. Hell, game was over by the first quarter. This is one of those games, 52-10. Texas A&M beats McNeese State the same way Miami beat Florida State the last time they won against them. 52-10. That's tough. Great win. South Carolina, huge win. South Carolina, huge win against Kentucky. Kentucky was the favorite in this one. And boy, did they get stumped out, especially in the second half. This game was close at halftime. It was 10-6. But then after the half, South Carolina came out and scored 21 unanswered goddamn points. You know what's crazy? A lot of the people on the ESPN got this one. They got this one right. Kind of suspect how they was picking South Carolina to beat Kentucky. Kind of suspect how some of those guys on ESPN Game Day was picking South Carolina to beat Kentucky. Obviously, South Carolina is the Gamecocks. Some people be being funny, and they'll just call them the Cocks. But when you got grown men, on TV, man, you know what? I ain't gonna say much. I'm just gonna I'm gonna let the clip. I'm gonna run the clip for you guys. There's some suspect stuff going on, man. Some stuff.
But I'll take the cock. Wow.
Pause. Big pause. Super pause. Whoa. Flag on the play. Flag on the play. Flag on the play.
But I'll take the cock.
Wow.
We're not going to pretend like we didn't just hear this man say what he just said. We're not. Bumbleclot. I'm lost for words. And if you think that, you know what?
You just want to say that.
I'm on there. Let's go USC.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, South Carolina. Excuse me. Let's go South Carolina.
Both taking the cock.
Yeah, South Carolina.
Bumbleclot. Not one of them, but both of them. Oh, my. Soup.
Taking the cocks.
Okay, we're about doing it. All right, here in the big house,
Let's
we're
go.
about to take
Come
some
on.
cock.
Come on.
I know they were eating this up at home. Pause. Let's pause on that too. God dang it. Everything about this segment was pausable. Jesus Christ. This was RG3 worthy. This can you right about this. This was RG3 worthy. I expect this from RG3. But oh my God.
Great celebrating. But I'll take the cock.
All right, that's enough. Oh my God. That's tough. That's tough. The crazy part about that, the two dudes that say they taking South Carolina for all the wrong reasons, probably, they was actually right. South Carolina beat the brakes off Kentucky, 31-6. So I guess them taking the Gamecocks, they was right. Crazy, man. That's tough. ESPN do better. ESPN do better. I'm with you, B Bean. I cannot unhear that. I cannot unhear what I heard. That's tough. That's tough. We talked about Florida, for obvious reasons. Vanderbilt improved to 2-0 after beating Virginia Tech last week. Virginia Tech got knocked off by Vanderbilt. One of the teams that you guys told me I should be really scared of this year. Not. But Vanderbilt knocks off Alcorn State 55-0. Nothing to talk about here. Another SEC opponent beating on a FCC opponent. Like, like everybody in the country does. Nothing to talk about. Their quarterback, Vanderbilt quarterback in this game passed the ball for a measly 83 yards. 83 yards. Their running back, 2 carries, 69 yards for 1 touchdown. He's the leader of the game. Vanderbilt leading receiver in this game, 3 receptions for 27 yards. This math ain't mathing. This how do you get 55 points to 0? Your quarterback didn't throw a touchdown in the game. It's 83 yards that he threw for. Your running back only ran for 1 touchdown. Your leading running back ran for 1 touchdown and 69 yards. So obviously it probably was a running affair in this game, but probably scored different touchdowns by different running backs. So they all probably got little chunks of yards here. Definitely not a receiving game. Definitely not a receiving game. That's tough. We already talked about Arizona, Mississippi State. So there you have it, guys. The games that got played, who won, how they won. Stats are there for you guys to go check it out. But let's go on into week 3. Let's go in. Oh, we don't want that. Let's go into week 3. Let's get out of the Big 10. Let's go to the top 25. We can focus on the top 25 first, and then the rest of the game we can talk about them. You know, if you're in top 25, then you don't go first. You go last. That's tough. So this upcoming week on Friday night, Kansas, I don't think they'll be ranked anymore, but nonetheless, the ranking hasn't come out. They're still on there. They'll take on UNLV at home. I think this is a bounce back week for Kansas. Kansas is a 7.5-point favorite in this one. So not quite sure where you guys want to go. You might want to do your research if you're thinking about betting on that game. Arizona versus Kansas State. Kansas State is a 7.5-point favorite. They're at home. They both struggled this week to get their wins. So ranked opponent, ranked matchup, one of those games that you're going to pay attention to. They're going to, highlight on ESPN and all Fox and all across the board, and, the game going to get played. Saturday, 3:30, ACC matchup. ACC, network. The Miami Hurricanes, 3:30, at home, at Hard Rock, once again. They'll take on Ball State. Ball State will come to town. There's not a spread on the game as of yet. There's no over and under as of yet. So, you'll have to monitor that one throughout the week. And, of course, whatever it is, just take Miami to win. Miami on the money line. This should be I'm going to say, an easy win for Miami. Obviously, their Ball State is probably coming into this thing a little bit better than FAMU, but I do believe that they're not as good as the Florida Gators, especially the Florida Gators at home. So I do believe Miami will handle business here, plain and simple, and they'll cruise victory. Over and under 300 yards for Cam Ward. Since that's the topic of can Cam Ward actually throw for 300 the whole season, I definitely think this is an over 300-yard passing game for him. So we'll see. Alabama, Wisconsin. This should be interesting. Alabama, Wisconsin. Tyler Van Dyke versus Alabama. This is going to be interesting. Man, does Wisconsin get blown out by Alabama at home? Or can Tyler Van Dyke pull an upset this week against Alabama? Can Wisconsin get a pivotal? Can they get this monumental win over Alabama? Can the Badgers roll them Tides? Ooh, this is going to be one of those games, man. I know Wisconsin's not ranked, but for the sake of Miami Hurricane fans and the Tyler Van Dyke obsession or the Tyler Van Dyke experiment at Wisconsin, we want to see this. Can Tyler Van Dyke get this win against Alabama? Man, we're going to find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. Michigan should be a bounce back week for Michigan against Arkansas State. 22.5-point favorite. They're a 22.5-point favorite in this one. Are you guys taking Michigan to cover the 22.5? Let me know in the chat. Oklahoma State comeback win yesterday against Arkansas. They'll take on a lesser opponent in Tulsa this week. No, like I said, rankings will change, but Oklahoma State. I think I'll take Oklahoma State. This is a home game for Tulsa, so in-state game or whatever. I think I'll take Oklahoma State though. SEC matchup. An SEC matchup should be a good one. LSU is an 8.5-point favorite at South Carolina. at South Carolina. South Carolina coming off a huge win, 31-6 against Kentucky. Can they continue that momentum? They're undefeated right now. Can they hand LSU their second loss of the season? Or will LSU bounce back and win this game? LSU is an 8.5-point favorite. NC State versus LA Tech. Like I said, guys, the rankings will change. Some of these teams will not be ranked anymore, but as of right now, NC State is still listed as the number 24 team. They take on Louisiana Tech this week. 24.5-point favorite. They're a 24.5-point favorite. Now, obviously, I would have to do my research on Louisiana Tech to see who they're playing so far, who's their quarterback, who's their running back, what the depth look like, what their offensive line and D-line is looking like. Because 24.5 is a lot, considering how bad NC State has played so far these past two seasons. These past 2 weeks. But that might be interesting. Boston College versus Missouri. Missouri at home. They're a 16.5-point favorite. ACC versus SEC. That should be an interesting matchup. Notre Dame, currently ranked number 5, will not be ranked number 5. Probably won't be ranked top 25. They're a 10.5-point favorite against Purdue. I know them losing to Northern Illinois is fresh in our memories, but can they bounce back against Purdue? This game is at Purdue. Can they bounce back? Or will it be another week where, it's a tough loss for them? And what does that mean if they do lose this week to Purdue for a guy like Marcus Freeman? We all know some of these fan base are not very forgiving, especially when you lose to FCS teams. You literally got to win out and, try to get that taste out of the fans' mouth. So, man, Notre Dame, that's going to be one of those teams to pay attention to. In-state rivalry, Oregon versus Oregon State. Oregon is a 14.5-point favorite. Oregon has struggled the last 2 weeks. They beat Boise State yesterday by 7 points. Did not cover the spread. The week before did not cover the spread. They are a 14.5-point favorite against Oregon State. That's going to be another interesting one. We'll see. Home game for Oregon State, by the way. Tulane versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma, 14.5-point favorite. Tulane versus Oklahoma. Who you guys going with? Who you guys taking? Me personally, I wanna go do some extensive researches on some of these teams because, like I said, this week I am gonna put together some 5-team parlays. So some interesting matchups. Some spreads I will actually stay away from. If they're too high, I'm staying away from them. If some of these teams got a tendency of not covering spreads and not winning games or getting upset or winning close games and stuff like that, or, playing down the competition, I'm staying away from some of these games. 5-team parlays is what I'm starting to do now. I'm going to stop being greedy. That's tough. Iowa, coming off of an upset by Iowa State, they will not be ranked this week, guys. But right now, they're still listed as number 21 team. They take on Troy. Troy is 0-2. Iowa is a 20.5-point favorite in this one. Utah versus Utah State. There's not a why is this thing? Oh, okay. There's not a spread out on this one yet, but if I had to just pick who's going to win, I'll go with Utah. But we'll see how that goes. Obviously, Utah should be the better team. We just saw Utah State just got demolished. So who knows? ACC versus SEC once again. ACC versus SEC once again. You got Ole Miss versus Wake Forest. The spread is not out yet. I'm taking Ole Miss to win this game, and I'm taking them to win big. And I expect the spread to be big whenever they put it out. But it's not out yet. Ole Miss versus Wake Forest. I'm going to take Ole Miss for the win. You know, that's tough, ACC. UTSA versus Texas. Spread's not out yet. Should be a win for Texas. Should win big. Obviously, this is in-state. UTSA might want to come play. Might have some pride. But I do think Texas is just on a whole different league right now than UTSA. I'm going to take Texas to win. Georgia versus Kentucky. Georgia is a 21.5-point favorite against Kentucky. Georgia, first week, beat Clemson. This week, beat some lesser opponent. And do I take Georgia to cover the 21.5 against a Kentucky team that just lost to South Carolina 31-6? I think if South Carolina can beat Kentucky by that much, I think Georgia should be able to do more damage. This is a huge spread. Obviously, I don't like taking spreads this big. But I'll let you guys decide whether you're going to take Georgia to cover the spread or not. And last but not least, you got Tennessee taking on another less opponent in Kent State. There's no spread out on it yet. Tennessee should win this game without a doubt. Should blow them out. Don't know what the spread is yet, so can't tell you whether or not they would cover it. But so far, so good for, Tennessee or whatever. All right, so obviously, top 25 we talk about. Let's go into the ACC and see if we got some good matchups, between certain teams in there. So obviously, we already talked about Ball State and Miami. Miami big, should win big. We already talked about NC State, LA Tech. Florida State. This is very laughable. Florida State is at home versus Memphis. This game is at 12 o'clock on ESPN. Florida State is at home against Memphis, and they are only a 3.5-point favorite. Now, Memphis is the total opposite of Florida State right now. They're 2-0. Florida State is 0-2. Florida State has a terrible quarterback in DJU, has a terrible running back room, has a terrible wide receiving room. Hell, got a terrible tight end and can't catch. Florida State right now is a total L to the state of Florida. Is a total L to the United States because they went over to Europe and got embarrassed. Florida State right now is an embarrassment. Huge embarrassment. Mike Norvell, big dummy Norvell. Shout out to Henry Lee, wherever he's at. Big dummy Norvell. Big dummy Norvell. Florida State is a 3.5-point favorite at home against a lesser talented opponent in Memphis. Let's add a little bit more dramatics to this. Let's add a little bit more suspense. This is Mike Norvell's old school. I don't know where to go with this one, to be honest with you. I don't know. I could pick against Florida State, and they could probably get their first win of the season. They could probably blow Memphis out for all I know. But I could also see them losing this at home. Florida State, yes, Quam, is a garbage team in 2024. Their D-line is trash. Patrick Pate, false advertisement. Darrell Jackson, no production. Marvin Jones Jr., Georgia's reject. Who's the other guy on the Josh Farmer? He should actually become a farmer. He should actually go do some agriculture. That's tough. That defensive line of Florida State is absolutely abysmal. Trash, Basuda, garbage. For the past two weeks. Nobody can challenge that. Their wide receivers, outside of Portier or whatever his name is, they can't get open. Trash, Basuda, garbage. Their quarterback, don't even get me started on their quarterback. I've been seeing videos coming out of their practices, and this dude can't complete a screen goddamn pass. DJU is not going to be the savior for the rest of the season. You guys are not winning 10 games for the rest of the season. You'll be happy to make a bowl game at this point. You're not going to get a turnaround season. Hell, you're not even playing the goddamn war chant on third downs anymore. You're going to have the DJ play something. Florida State is actually killing their own traditions. That's tough. So you might be doing America a favor by not playing that war chant every 5 goddamn seconds, but you're killing your own tradition. You're making your stadium more smaller so you can run up the quality of the game, so sort of say, but you're also going to run up the prices on fans in Tallahassee that, scrape together change already to go to the games. That's tough. You might improve some of the game time environment for certain fans, but some of them fans, let's just be honest, they ain't going to be able to afford that. Y'all might start having some halfway empty stadiums, some Hard Rock kind of deal, The things y'all like to talk about, Miami ain't got nobody in the state. Y'all might start experiencing some of that. Or your game probably will be full of pricks. That's tough. But 3.5-point favorite at home against Memphis. If this was the Florida State of last year, or this Florida State team that so-called deserved to be in the playoffs, man, I think this spread probably would have been like 30. Spread probably would have been up in the 20s. But Florida State at home against Memphis in 2024 is a 3.5-point favorite. This is scary because normally if I see something like this, I would jump on it in a second. I would take Florida State, the 3.5, and be like, oh, yes. But right now, I'm looking at the spread and I'm like, this could be a trap. I can actually see Memphis beating Florida State. I'm scared of the spread. I've never seen a 3.5-point spread for a team that's way more talented that I was scared of. I'm scared of this spread. And I know for a fact that some of you Florida State fans are looking at this spread right now and you're scared. You scared. You scared like juice. You scared. I can see it in your eyes, Florida State fans. Y'all are scared. 3.5-point favorite at home. Some of you guys will not put $1 on it. If you normally bet 100, 200, maybe 5, even 1,000, you would probably be scared to bet on this. That's tough. It's 2020. It's 2024, baby. Florida State is back into 2020 right now with Mike Norvell. Man, that's tough. Nick, what's going on with you? Chris, what's good with you? Man, that's tough. Boston College, we talked about that already because, Missouri is actually ranked. Georgia Tech, VMI. nothing to see there. Georgia Tech will bounce back this week. They'll beat VMI. The backyard brawl, Pitt versus West Virginia. This should be an interesting one. West Virginia is a 5.5-point favorite against Pitt. Pitt was an underdog yesterday, 2-point underdog against Cincinnati. They won. Now they're an underdog against West Virginia this week. I don't know where to go with this one either. This is a tough one. Obviously, this is one of those games where, this is a rival game, a rekindle rivalry, whatever you want to call it. 5.5-point favorite, West Virginia. This is one of those games that I would actually have to do some research on both of these teams this season, and then watch it play out. And then you also got to keep in mind that stats and all that might not even matter, because we all know rivalry games, how they are. Some years you could tell them a lot different. Like this year, for example, Miami versus Florida State. You could see Miami as the better team. I could see Florida State showing up against Miami, but I don't think they, with the arsenals that they got right now, I don't think they would do much. It's kind of one of those things where the eye test is there. But West Virginia versus Pitt, where we haven't really paid attention to these two teams, I think this is one that I would have to go to their insiders and watch videos and breakdowns of both sides, not just the West Virginia guys, because these things could get biased. You'd have to watch it from both sides and decipher it. But West Virginia Pitt, that should be an amazing game this week. Given the state of where both of these teams are, it's not going to be for championships or anything like that. They're not going to end each other's season or anything like that. Well, if West Virginia lose, then you might as well say in the rounds of playoffs, their season is done. But the importance, it's kind of tough to judge. But for the fans, it's definitely important. So that's one to pay attention to. Duke versus UConn. After watching Duke for the last 2 weeks, I don't trust Duke. There's no spread out yet. I don't trust Duke. I would probably take Duke to win the game, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lose. I would not be surprised if they lose, given the way their offense is set up. Now, given that UConn will be a little bit of a lesser opponent than the Northwestern and any of the ACC team that Duke will take on this season, I don't trust Duke. I just don't. Plain and simple. That's tough. North Carolina versus North Carolina Central. North Carolina will win that game. The spread is not out yet, obviously, but it will be North Carolina by a lot. And depending on what the spread is, if it's a low spread, take North Carolina to cover. If it's not, then be wary. Be very wary. Virginia Tech versus Old Dominion. Virginia Tech versus Old Dominion. Virginia Tech handled business against Marshall. I think Old Dominion is a lesser opponent than Marshall. Virginia Tech have a history of having problem with Old Dominion. I don't think that'll be the issue this year. I think Virginia Tech is a more talented team than the Old Dominion, and I think this year they do have a lot of production coming back that, a lot of you guys were thinking they would be a trap game for Miami. So with that being said, I'll take Virginia to win this game. The spread's not out yet. Don't know what it's going to be. More closer to game time, we'll find out. Maybe tomorrow, maybe even the day after. But I'll just take Virginia Tech to win this game. We already talked about Ole Miss and Wake Forest. Ole Miss by a lot. Virginia versus Maryland. Virginia at home. Virginia just upsetted Wake Forest yesterday by 1 point. There was a 1 point underdog. They won by a point. I told y'all earlier. I think it's rigged. I think some of these spreads are rigged. That's tough. How do you win? Anyway, let's keep it moving. You know what? I'm gonna dig down that hole a little bit. Miami was a 47-point favorite, a 46.5-point favorite against FAMU. Miami won that game by 47. We was a 46-point favorite, 46.5. We won it by 47. We won that game. We covered the spread by 0.5. And y'all telling me some of these stuff ain't rigged? These are just coincidence. These are just coincidence. Oklahoma State was an 8-point favorite against Arkansas. They won by 8. They won by 8. And I could dig deeper into some of these other games. Some of these stuffs are rigged. Some of these games are rigged. Some of them, you take them, and they know you're going to parlay them. That allegedly. I think some of this stuff is rigged. Ain't no explanation for it. How do you guess these things on point? Ain't enough analytics in the world, because we see college football totally different. Anything could happen any week. A team could get blown out, cover the spread, but you telling me you pick a team to win by 1, they lose by 1, the spread was 1. You pick a team to lose by 8, they win by 8. Come on, man. Some of these things are sick. Some of those games, I'm starting to think those are rigged. That's tough, especially if you got some of them rigged ones in your parlay. That's tough. Allegedly. Oh, man. Cal versus San Diego State. Cal's at home. I think, well, is it Cal? Yeah, Cal's at home against San Diego State. That's a 10:30 game on ESPN. No spread is out yet. I wouldn't know where to go with this one. Cal just beat Auburn. Can they actually, sustain and continue to win? They're 2-0 right now. We're going to find out. Now, me personally, after you beat an SEC team, you're high. You're up there. You feel like you did something. Hopefully they stay up there and don't, fumble this one away. But I'll take Cal for the win. Not quite sure what the spread going to be, but if it's high, definitely not touching it. All right, so that's the ACC games this week. Let's go to the Big 12 games that's outside of the top 25. Let's talk about them. Friday night, you got Arizona State versus Texas State. Texas State is actually a favorite in this one. Texas State is at home versus Arizona State. Now, 1.5. Arizona is an underdog by 1.5. I'm jumping on that. I'm jumping on that right now. Arizona State to win this game. I'm taking Arizona to cover the points. I'm taking Arizona by the money line. I don't know what the over and under will be, but I don't even care about that. I don't care about the over and under. I'm taking Arizona State to win this game. I'm taking them. I'm actually do a parlay on this one. Same game parlay. I'm taking Arizona State to cover the points and to win the game. If Arizona State screw me in this one, I will never bet on them again. I promise you. This is one of those that I jump on personally. And I think a lot of people are going to jump on it. And this line is going to move. This line is going to move. But I got to take it at where it's at right now. 1.5 point. Arizona State. You can beat Texas State by 2 points. Hell, you could beat them by 3 for all I care. But you better beat them. That's tough. And I expect you to beat them. Friday, another game we already talked about. We already talked about those. Those are ranked games. So we got Cincinnati versus Miami of Ohio. Cincinnati coming off of upset by Pitt. They'll go to Oxford. Who you guys think wins this game? Miami of Ohio or Cincinnati? This one, I'd have to do some more research. There's no spread out on it yet. Not quite sure where I'm going to pick with this one. Might even stay away from it. But, that's tough. North Texas versus Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech wins this game. I think Texas Tech bounced back. They just got, pummeled by Washington State. I think this is a bounce back game for them. I'm going to take Texas Tech to win. The spread is not out yet. Not quite sure what it'll be, but I'm going to take Texas Tech. I'm going to take Texas Tech to win outright. The money line. Depending on what the money line is, might have to parlay it with some other money line games or whatever to, make some of these bets worthwhile. That's tough. We talked about those. Utah, we talked about Air Force Baylor. Air Force Baylor. No spread as of yet. We just seen Baylor get beat by Utah. This is I'm gonna stay away from that one. No spreads out yet. I'm gonna stay away from that one. That's a researchable game right there. Colorado State. Colorado versus Colorado State. Colorado is a 7.5-point favorite. We also saw Colorado struggled against an FCS opponent. Then we saw them play Nebraska and got pummeled. Colorado is a favorite, 7.5. This is a tough one. Now, obviously, I can't tell you where to go with this one because obviously I have not seen Colorado State. I have not seen them play. I've seen a little bit of Colorado versus Nebraska, but I haven't seen Colorado State, so I don't know whether to tell you to take Colorado State to cover the points or to take Colorado to win big, to bounce back. This is a tough one. If I had to go instinctively, I would say take Colorado. I would say take them to win the game. But this is one of those that you might want to stay away from. You might want to stay away from this one. Another interesting one another interesting match. TCU versus UCF. TCU is at home. TCU is less than a point favorite. They are 0.5 favorite in this one. Both teams are undefeated. Hold on, we got to check this one. I'm sorry, we got to go. Normally, I don't dig into these, but we got to. So TCU at home is a 44.8 on the ESPN matchup predictor to win the game. Now, obviously, you can't really trust the matchup predictor to guide you in the right direction all the time. Because obviously they had Miami losing to Florida. Florida was a 57.5 favorite in the ESPN matchup predictor against Miami. So take these things with a grain of salt. Last opponent that UCF played, the last two opponent that they played, they blow both of them out. New Hampshire, they blow them out. 57-3. Sam Houston, 45-14. Blowouts. Now, on the other hand, you got TCU. Long Island University, they blow them out yesterday, 45-0. Then Sanford, week 1, they beat them by 7, 34-27. I would probably trust TCU more in this one because they actually played a stronger opponent in Sanford. So far, UCF has played 2 teams that are FCS level. Granted, they blow them out. Plus, the game is at TCU. I think and it's only a 0.5 favorite, which that is going to change. That is absolutely going to change as the week goes on and the bets start to go in. So I think I would jump on TCU at 0.5 as a favorite. The only way you lose now is if UCF just actually win the game. They could win by a point. If UCF win the game, that's the only way you lose that bet. I think I'll jump on TCU at home, 0.5. 0.5. They just got to win by a point at home. I think I'll take TCU for that one. That's definitely going to change, though, as the week goes. Ain't no way in hell. Once the bets start going in, that's not going to change. Houston versus Rice. Houston's 0-2. Rice just came off a huge win. This game, I'm going to stay away from. I really don't want to do no damn research on Houston and definitely no goddamn Rice. So I'll stay away from that one. BYU, Wyoming. I think BYU will win. Boring game. Depending on what the spread is, there's no spread right now. I think BYU will win. I think, Wyoming, don't know much about them, but right now they're 0-2. BYU just came off of a struggle, boring game, but a strong defensive outing against SMU. So I'll roll with BYU if I would. But this is one of those games I'm obviously not going to bet on. And that's the Big 10. I'm sorry, the Big 12. Let's go into the Big 10. See what the matchups are this week outside of the top 25. Central Michigan versus Illinois. Take Illinois to win. They'll probably win big. Just came off a huge win against Kansas. Upset a ranked opponent. Central Michigan is a lesser opponent, so I'll take them to win. We talked about all of those. Michigan State versus Prairie View. Michigan State to win. There's no spread out as of yet, so just Michigan State to win. Nevada versus Minnesota. Minnesota to win that one. No spread yet. I'll take Minnesota for the win. Washington versus Washington State. Rivalry game. This will be played in Seattle. Washington versus Washington State. Washington is a 5-point favorite. The over and under is sitting at 53.5. Rival game. This game is being played at 3:30 on Peacock. Rival game, 5-point favorite. I'm staying away from it. It's going to be interesting to see that one play out, but it's a rivalry game. I'm staying away from it. Y'all could tell me who you think going to win, Washington or Washington State. Both teams goes into this thing 2-0, by the way. We talked about that one. UCLA versus Indiana. UCLA versus Indiana. Indiana is going to Pasadena. Indiana is going to Pasadena to play UCLA. Indiana is a 2.5-point favorite. Indiana is a 2.5-point favorite. Um, 2.5 points, man. I think I want to go. See, in this one, I might have to do some research on UCLA. This is a Big Ten matchup, by the way. UCLA is actually in the Big Ten this season. So this is a conference game. This game will be played in California. Now, obviously, UCLA did not play yesterday. Indiana did. So Indiana in the first week, they beat FIU 31-7. And yesterday they beat FCS opponent 7-3. So let's go back and take a look at UCLA real quick. Let's see, who did they play in their first game? They're obviously 1-0. Yesterday did not play. So they played Hawaii, the first game at Hawaii, and they beat them 16-3. They beat them 16-3. That might be one of those games where I stay away from. That might be one of those games that I stay away from. When I'm building my 5-game parlays, this might be one of those where I stay away from because it possibly could ruin everything. But that 2.5 point is very tempting. It's very tempting. Nebraska, after beating the bejesus out of Colorado, they'll take on Northern Illinois. I'm sorry, Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa. At home. I think they'll handle business. I think they'll beat them. Depending on what the spread is, though. Depending on what the spread is. Northwestern versus Eastern Illinois. Northwestern to win. Don't know what the spread is as of yet. We'll see. Obviously, we talked about Maryland versus Virginia. Maryland is a 2.5-point favorite. Kind of want to stay away from that one. It's one of those games where I think it could go either way. Let's see. Last but not least, let's go on over to the SEC. The SEC. We talked about most of these games already, but let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Florida versus Texas A&M. Florida versus Texas A&M. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Will Florida play DJ Lagway or will Florida play Graham Mertz? Will it be one of those situations where Graham Mertz is still in, concussion protocol, or will he actually be up for this game? Will Billy Napier start him, or will he go with, Graham with DJ Lagway, with the hot hands right now? That's a question for me. Now, both of these teams are both 1-1. Week 1, Texas A&M lost at home to Notre Dame, who lost to Northern Iowa yesterday. Florida got pummeled by Miami, absolutely got destroyed. And then this week, they won 45-7 against Samford. This is a home game for Florida, but obviously the Swamp, even with 90,000 people in there, you could go in there and blow them out 41-17, This one's kind of tough to measure. I could clearly see Texas A&M going in there and getting a victory. I could also see Florida getting a victory. Both of these two teams are probably evenly matched. And when you look at both opponents, like the stats of all their players, Florida is leading in every single metric. So it's kind of tough, man. It's kind of tough. But Texas A&M is a 3.5-point favorite going into this thing. Miami was a 2.5-point favorite going into this thing. This one I might stay away from. But being the troll that I am, I might put $5 or something like that on Texas A&M to win the game. I might even put $5 on Texas A&M to cover this spread. You know, it's not a lot of reward, but it's also a low risk. You're not gonna win no whole bunch of money, you know, but you might win some gas money. You might win some gas money. I might put a little $5 on Texas A&M to beat Florida 3.5 in the swamp. I definitely will not be putting this on a parlay, though. I'll tell you that much. I will tell you that much. But hey, Florida versus Texas A&M. Who do you guys think win this game? Florida or Texas A&M? Let me know in the chat. Where are you guys leaning? Now this game will be on ABC. This is a 3:30 game that will be on ABC. So this will be on local TV, guys. All you need is a little antenna. Go buy you a little antenna, stick it on the back of your TV, search up channels. You will get all the local channels, and you can watch this in live time. All the people that's streaming the games, watching it on YouTube and watching it on whatever streaming service they pay for, you will see the action before they do. You'll be like a couple, maybe 10 seconds ahead of everybody. That's tough. Go get your little antenna, man. Or if you got one of the little rabbit ears at home already, then you all set. UAB, Arkansas at home. I think Arkansas bounced back this week. They'll beat UAB. The spread's not out yet. Not quite sure what it'll be, but I'll take Arkansas for the win. All right, we talked about those. Vanderbilt, Georgia State. Vanderbilt to win. Vanderbilt is going to improve to 3-0. Vanderbilt is going to improve to 3-0. In 2024, Vanderbilt will improve to 3-0. And there will be no pummeling of Vanderbilt for maybe a couple weeks. That's tough. Until they get into SEC play, and then, obviously, it'll get tough. Georgia, Kentucky, we talked about. Auburn will beat New Mexico, no doubt. No spread yet. Auburn for the win. Obviously, if you want to put together a long list of parlays of teams that's going to win that, you could put a couple dollars on and you'll win a little bit to less. Some of these games, you can throw them all together. Pick like 20 of them. Pick like 20 of these short things, put a little money on them, and win a little bit of money. Just a little bit. You ain't gonna win no lot. Because some of these odds are gonna be like super high. It's gonna be super high. Some of them won't even let you bet on the odds, to be honest with you. Toledo versus Mississippi State. Toledo versus Mississippi State. Mississippi State at home versus Toledo. I want to lean towards Mississippi State, but I really don't trust them. So this is one of those games that I'm going to leave alone. I could actually see Toledo upset Mississippi State, if it's even an upset. If Toledo's not even the favorite. Let's see who Toledo actually played. Let's actually see who they played, who they got these two victories from. DuQuette and Massachusetts, UMass. See? Lesser opponents. Now, obviously, Mississippi State, you saw them play Arizona State yesterday and lost. Who is that? Who is that one opponent they beat? Who did they beat? Probably some SCS school. Yeah. So week 1, 56-3. And then they lost. I'll probably take Mississippi State to win this one, but depending on what the spread is, I probably wouldn't go against it. We already talked about that. Okay, so basically that covers all the teams, all the games that's being played in the Power 4 this week. Once these spreads come out, I know some of you guys are betting people. You know, you're going to bet on some of these games. You know, good luck to y'all on that. You know, hey, if any of this stuff that I told you guys on the show helped and y'all win big, hey, come back and share the wealth. The Cash App is at the bottom of the screen. And obviously you can hit the super chat on YouTube or whatever. You know, that's tough. No pressure. Like I said, guys, for those of y'all that did tune in late, I did find a cool product. I'm not getting paid for advertisement or anything. I just like the product. So I want to share it with you guys. I'm going to share this before we shut this thing down. I'll share this product. If you're not a Miami Hurricane fan, don't worry. You could tell them to put whatever you want on it. But it's a real cool item. It's real cool. I like it. I know most of you college fans are going to like it. So I'm going to play this for you one time. It's on my Twitter, of course. You guys could go check it out. Check out their website, holycap.com. Holycap.com. See it in the ad. What up, my Miami Hurricane fans? I have found the coolest item on the market for you guys right now. Yes, right now. Holy Cap Apparel. Man, awesome. New innovative hat. You gotta have it. Now, obviously, you can tell that this is more of a nightcap. No pun intended. But the LED lights will light up the night. And obviously, you'll get a glow. You'll be the center of attention anywhere you go. As you can see, it comes with a charger. Obviously, this thing is ran by battery. Just a click on the top of the head to change the color. Change it to your likings, and boom, you're on your way. So go check out holycapapparel.com and get you something. What up, my Miami Hurricane fans? I have found. All right, guys, make sure you go to Holy Cap Apparel. Go get you a hat. If you're a Florida Gator fan, you can get the Florida Gator on there. If you're a Florida State fan, you can get the Florida State on there. Obviously, you guys can see some, different. You ain't just got to get the Miami name on there. You can get the U on there. As you guys can see, they light up. It's LED. It's a little button in the back. You can actually press the top of your head and turn the light. It's pretty simple, man. As a matter of fact, I'll show you guys even more. As you guys can see, look, they got the Miami Heat hats, whatever. You tell them what to put on there, they put it on there for you. And they make it. So you guys can see, look, for all you Gator fans out there, they got the F or whatever you want to put on there. If you want to put the little crocodile, the alligators, or whatever y'all got for y'all little mascot, y'all can put that up there too. All that stuff. They make these hats. You can see in the back, they got the SF, whether you want to say Florida State or you want to say San Francisco or whatever. Yeah, they make those. So go get y'all some. If you want to find them, holycap.com. You can go on my page on Twitter. Click on it. It'll take you to their website. You can see the stuff for yourself. Look, you can see the hats. They light up. They stand still or whatever. Or you can make them blink. You can make them just light up, or you can just turn them off. As you guys can see, like I said, you can put different stuff on there. Somebody got the A on there, the logos and stuff. They give you all the step-to-step stuff that they do, customizing, how to contact them, how much it is. You could tell them what to put on the hat, all that great stuff. And like I showed you guys before, these are some demonstrations, things that they've already done to it. Look, you got the LA hat, you got the Florida hat there, you got some other stuff. Whatever it is you want to put on these hats, they'll do it for you. You can see demonstration at Miami game, the hat light up. Obviously, guys, this is a great idea, especially for nighttime. They do give you like little bits and pieces about themselves, so you could read into that, so you can kind of know what you're supporting or whatever. But you can see demonstrations on the side, photos of people with the hats or whatever. Seattle Seahawks, you got Minnesota Vikings, all that stuff. So man, go check them out. Yeah, go check them out. Go get you a hat. And go follow them on Instagram too. Holy Cap Apparel. Oh man. So obviously I do got a hat on right now. You guys can see. So all I do is just tap the back of my head. Let me find it right there. So just tap the back of my head and it comes on. If I want to just tap it again, it'll change color. Tap it again and change color. Tap it again and change color. So it's different colors, different light, everything. See, another different color. And then it blinks and do all that stuff. So if you're a person that likes attention, or you're going out and you're in the club or something and it's dark and you want to look extra cool or whatever, you want to show off your stuff, it got different. See, this one blinks a little bit more faster and everything like that. Press it again, not a light running through it. I personally like it. And all you do is just tap your head. That's it. We back to regular again. Now, if you want to turn it off, you just hold the button and boom, it's off. I like it. I love it. So go get y'all some, man. Go support your team. Go get your team logo, all that good stuff. Share that with college football fans. I think that's a great intervention, whatever, all that good stuff. But anyway, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in today. Recapping the whole college football, not just the Miami Hurricane, Florida State, or the Florida Gators, but college football in whole. As you guys know, we do the show every single Sunday. Talk about the games that got played and the games that are coming up next week. So we do recaps and then we do a preview of the next week. So if you know a college football fan, obviously, share the channel with them. Tell them to come on over. All of them are welcome. Trash talk is 100% allowed on this channel. Nobody will block you. Nobody will kick you. Nobody will mute you. None of that. Come talking trash. 100% allowed. With all that being said, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow on Twitter and all that good stuff.